really wasn't looking for trouble that day I rode into New Canaan. But as usual, trouble was looking for me.
Told you I won't have no fighting in my place, and I mean it. Now get going and don't come back till you sober up. What's the matter with you?
Well, somebody just hit me in the stomach with a man, and I think it was you.
Well, I sure didn't aim to. Come on inside and I'll buy you a beer.
Tastes good on a hot day.
You bet. This is nice and cold, too. There you are. My name's Bonsell, Jeff Bonsell. I'm the proprietor.
My name's Vint Bonner. I'm just passing through. You haven't got many customers.
They all ran out the back door when the ruckus started. But they'll be back after they get through blabbing the newest piece of gossip about Jenny May all over this town.
Jenny May?
I finished the inventory on the whiskey, Mr. Bonsell.
All right, Jenny May. See you tomorrow.
Are you sure you want to see me tomorrow?
Of course I do. 'Twasn't your fault. Now run along. Think no more about it.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's Jenny May McElroy, the Jezebel of New Canaan.
That lady doesn't look like any Jezebel to me.
And that ain't what I think about her either, mister. It's what the good people of New Canaan think about her. Want a job? Could use a man like you. $5 a day and found.
Come again?
You heard me, a job. Working for me.
Job? Doing what?
God help me keep the peace in this here establishment.
I'm a cowboy, not a bouncer.
You're a bouncer, all right. Fill it up for you. I want a cowhand, or I'd herd on cowhands. The situation around here is getting out of my control.
What situation?
The situation about Jenny May, like I've been trying to tell you.
Look, maybe I ought to go out and come back in again. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you caught on quick enough that she's a lady, a real lady. And through no fault of hers, she's become what you might call a bone of contention around here. Most of the nice people are against her. That is, except Miss Purcell, the new schoolmarm.
What's the contention about?
I eat my meals over at her house mostly. Why don't you come along later tonight for supper? That's the best way to get a real good notion of what's going on around here.
Well, I'm hungry and I could use a meal, but... All right, I'll go with you. But that doesn't mean I'm taking the job.
Something's just got to be done about her.
Look at her walking along carefree. And her husband dead in a gunfight only 2 years.
It's bad enough working in a saloon and her the mother of young children. But she's nothing but trouble where the young men of this town are concerned.
She's not fit to be a mother.
Good afternoon, ladies. I couldn't help but overhear your remarks about Mrs. McElroy. And since her children are my concern, too, and are clean, well-kept, and among the politest children I have in my classes, obviously she is a very good mother.
And do you also teach lessons in eavesdropping at your school, Miss Purcell?
Well, I don't really know how this thing got started, Mr. Bonner. Since you're a friend of Jeff's, I'll be frank with you. After Jim was killed, I didn't really know what to do. There were a lot of men in town that seemed to want to help me. But none of them wanted to give me a job. Except Jeff.
Blue-nosed hypocrites, all of them.
Well, Jeff gave me a job keeping books and looking after things. And that way I was able to care for and feed my children.
From what I've heard, you've done a darn good job of it, too.
And I just darn well couldn't get along without her.
Oh, I would have taken a respectable job, Mr. Bonner. If there'd been one. It's no offense to you, but I can't live and raise my children on the basis of what other people think I should do and the way they want me to act. Besides, I didn't really have much choice in the matter.
Good evening, Mr. Bonsell. May we come in, Mama?
Of course, dear. Mr. Bonner, this is Bruce and Gordon and Betty Sue.
Hi, Mr. Bonner. Hi, Mr. Bonner. Hello, Mr. Bonner.
Hello there.
Dorothy, notice that on your face.
I told you she'd notice. It's soap and rice powder to cover up his black eye.
Oh, no, not fighting again.
I had to. Jamie Goodhue said a bad thing. I heard him. He said we were unfortunate children and more to be pitied than scorned. That's when Gordon hit him. Right on the nose. And Jamie Goodhue's 10 years old. Why are we more to be pitied than scorned, Mama?
You're not. But you still mustn't go around fighting all the time.
Jamie said 2 men were fighting about you in Mr. Bonsell's saloon. Today.
Well, that isn't so. There was a fight, all right, but your mama had nothing to do with it.
Now listen, you remember what I've told you. Don't listen to gossip.
We can't go around all the time with our fingers in our ears.
Well, I know that, but you don't have to believe it, do you?
I don't. That's why I hit him.
Well, look, you children run on, get all washed up for dinner and everything. Now, go on.
Is Mr. Bonner staying for supper?
I certainly am, young lady.
You run along now. Go on.
I can rightly say I never figured on taking a job as a bouncer. But it's 10 days till I report to Trails End for roundup, so I'll take the job. As a matter of fact, the idea kind of intrigues me.
Good. Miss Purcell. You don't have to look so scared, ma'am. This here saloon can't bite you.
I'd like to speak to you, Mr. Bonsell.
Oh, that's all right. This is my friend, Vent Bonner. Why don't you come over here and sit down? Tell us about it.
Something's happened, Mr. Bonsell, and, well, I don't know to whom to turn except you. Amy Goodhue has gotten the members of the school board to sign a complaint against Mrs. McElroy. She will introduce that complaint at the Guildhall meeting.
What kind of a complaint?
They will claim that she is an unfit mother and will try to make her children wards of the community.
Well, won't the sheriff have something to say about that?
There ain't no sheriff. He quit 2 months ago. The city council ain't appointed a new one yet.
Well, what's she got against Jenny May? Just because Gordon got in a fight with her kid?
Well, it probably didn't help none that he knocked 2 of the little polecat's teeth out, but that ain't it. Them 2 old hens have been sharpening their claws for a long time.
I'm afraid so. They also plan to give me notice that my services are no longer required.
They can't do that.
Oh, yes, they can. But I mind it a whole lot more that they're trying to take that nice young woman's children away from her.
Well, that's all my fault.
How?
Well, you see, I got a stake in this town. I once got to be president of the school board. That's when I sent for Miss Purcell here to be our new school teacher. Of course, that let out Amy Goodhue's sister, Minnie. She was the old school marm.
Oh, I see.
Oh, no, you don't. Minnie ain't no teacher. She's a fat old parrot. She had them kids all in one room learning everything by heart. No matter how young or how old or how smart or how ignorant, they all had to recite the same things. Now, I ain't got much education, but I ain't stupid. And I can tell you that ain't teaching anything.
Miss Purcell, if you have to leave, how much notice do they have to give you?
Well, it was agreed that I was to have 2 weeks' notice when I took the position.
Suppose you let Jeff and I just chew this over for a while,
Well, thank you. I certainly hope something can be done, regardless of me. It would be a terrible miscarriage of justice if Mrs. McElroy's children were deprived of their mother.
And the other way around, too.
Bartender!
Bartender! Bartender!
Get back to my classes.
Whiskey!
Those drunks are at it again.
Whiskey!
Bartender!
Look, you sit down. Let me start earning my keep.
It's all alike.
Whiskey!
Bartender! Bartender!
Hello, boys. You gotta stop drinking like this. You'll both be out by noon.
You have the same uncouth manner of my erstwhile enemy Clayton here.
You will kindly serve us some whiskey, so I may continue my argument with this here Yankee, and endeavor to prove to him that there never was a northerner who was fit to lick the mud off of General Lee's boots.
That's enough. That's enough. Come here. Now, look, boys. I was hired to keep the peace in the saloon, and I intend to do so. Besides, the war is over.
Were you in it, sir?
I was.
Which side?
It doesn't make any difference which side. Besides, we're all on the same side now.
Not me. I think you'd best stand aside, sir. This here's a private discussion.
You know, we gotta think of something.
Miss Jenny May? For you.
I can't accept those, Mr. Clayton.
Merely a token of my admiration for you, Miss Jenny May. Surely you must know how I feel about you.
I don't know any such thing, Mr. Clayton.
I thought I'd like the pleasure of your company at dinner, ma'am.
I'm having dinner with my children.
Oh, can't they have dinner without you this one time?
Get out of here, Mr. Clayton.
And don't ever come back, you drunken secessionist.
I warned you to stay away from me.
And I warned you to stay away from her.
Jeff, I've got to talk to you.
All right, over this way, Jenny May.
Ben,
What's the trouble?
Gray and Clayton. They had a gunfight on my front porch. They're both hurt.
Did anybody see him?
Oh, I don't know. I hope not.
Well, the first thing we better do is get him off your front porch. But I can't hardly leave here right now.
I'll go.
Maybe you better stay here for the time being.
Well, the children are in the house. I have to go back.
Let's go. Uh-oh. Looks like we're too late.
Yes.
You better go around back. Come in the rear.
All right.
We'll get him to a doctor, Mayor. One is hurt pretty bad. Take him away, boys.
Well, at least we can get that woman out here and find out what happened.
Seems to me pretty plain what's happened.
Who's that?
My name's Vint Bonner.
What do you know about this?
Nothing. Except those two been drinking and quarreling ever since I got to town.
What are you doing here?
I heard there'd been some trouble. I'm a friend of Mrs. McElroy's.
Appears to me she makes friends mighty easy for a respectable barmaid.
Appears to me you better watch your tongue or you'll lose some teeth.
Now, just a minute, Bonner. I know about you. We don't want any trouble from you. Understand?
Then don't give me any.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Mr. Maybank.
Well, young woman, can you tell us what happened?
Well, I don't really know what happened.
They come a-calling on you, didn't they? Brought flowers, didn't they?
She doesn't have to answer any questions from you or anybody else.
Oh, no? Well, there's a law in this land, mister. She'll find out whether or not she has to answer questions. And as for you, Mr. Vint Bonner, you can get out of town and stay out.
I'll get out of town when I'm good and ready.
Come on, Maybank. Don't you fellers ever go to bed?
How'd it go?
Worse than I thought. The town council's indicting her.
That's ridiculous. Indicting her for what?
They say she ain't fit to be a mother.
She's taking care of her children.
Good care. I'll get the best lawyer in the whole country, by gunnies.
When's the trial set?
This afternoon.
What are you talking about? You can't get a lawyer by this afternoon. Where is the nearest one?
Abilene, over 100 miles. The only lawyer in this town's Mayor Pritchard, and he's doing the prosecuting.
There's only one thing to do. That's ask for a postponement.
How do you do that?
Well, you step up to the judge and you say, Your Honor, the defendant would like to request a postponement so she can have time to get herself a lawyer. That's her constitutional right.
Well, you talk as good as any lawyer I ever heard. Why don't you be her lawyer?
'Cause I'm not a lawyer, that's why.
Well, how come you know so much about law if you ain't a lawyer?
I worked for the U.S. Marshal a couple of times, and I've been in court a couple of times, but it doesn't make me a lawyer or anything near one.
Okay, don't get mad. But you'll have to be the one that asked the judge for that, whatever you call it. I'd never remember to say Your Honor and all that. I'd probably get mad and bust him in the nose.
You can't bust the judge in the nose.
Who can't?
Look, when he's up on that bench, he's got the whole United States government backing him up.
Seems a little one-sided to me.
Well, it can be sometimes, but that's the way it is.
This court is now in session. Jenny Mae McElroy, will you stand before the court? You are charged with failing to provide a proper home for your 3 children. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Are you represented by an attorney?
I am not.
May it please the court.
Yes, who are you?
My name is Vint Bonner, sir. The defendant would like to get a postponement so that she can have time to get a lawyer.
I object, Your Honor.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that the evidence against this woman is complete and incontrovertible.
You're out of order at this time. Your grounds are inadequate, Mr. Pritchard. How much time does the defendant require?
Well, I guess 2 weeks, sir.
I think that's reasonable.
Your Honor, if she does not wish a postponement, I will speak in her defense. She has done nothing wrong. She has nothing to fear.
But Miss Purcell, she's got to have a lawyer.
Who are you?
You know who I am, Judge. You've been in my place.
What is your interest in this case?
Well, I gave the lady a job in my saloon after her husband got killed.
And your interest, ma'am?
I wish to defend this young woman if she will permit it.
You have a license to practice in this state?
No, Your Honor. I took my master's degree in law in Connecticut.
Are you sure you know what you're doing, Miss Purcell?
This is serious, you know that.
She is entitled to have someone speak for her now. And if she will let me, I am going to do it. Your Honor, even though I am not licensed in this state, perhaps I can act as amicus curiae.
As friend of the court. I think that's possible. Mrs. McElroy, will you allow Miss Purcell to act in your behalf?
You know you can't afford to make a mistake, or else you'll lose those 3 kids.
Let her alone. I think she can do it.
Mrs. McElroy, please let me try. I know your children, and I know you, and I honestly feel I can defend you as well as anyone.
You go ahead, Miss Purcell. I believe you.
The defendant will permit me to act in her behalf as friend of the court.
Is this your wish, Mrs. McElroy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Pritchard. What evidence do you have in substantiation of the charges against the defendant?
Plenty, Your Honor. Plenty. We shall prove conclusively that this woman is unfit to live in a law-abiding, God-fearing community, and that she is unfit as a mother to care properly for her children. And we petition this court to place those 3 fatherless children in an institution where they can properly...
I object.
On what grounds?
I object to counsel stating that Mrs. McElroy is unfit this and unfit that, to generalization without proof.
I'm in the process of proving my contention, if it please the court.
Sit down, Miss Purcell.
I call Mrs. Amy Goodhue to the stand.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the true self you got.
I do. And not only does she work in a saloon, but the saloon keeper eats his meals at her house, including breakfasts.
Well, she's a better cook than you are, you old dried-up bed flat.
It was about 8:30 last night. I went over to her house with Mayor Pritchard and Joe Sawyer and Sam Watkins.
And what did you find on the front porch of Mrs. McElroy's house, Councilman Maybank?
Adam Gray and Randy Clayton, both wounded from gunfire. One seriously.
Did you ask Mrs. McElroy to explain their presence there?
Yes, sir, I did. She claimed she didn't know anything about it. Said she had nothing to do with it. But one of them must have come a-courting, or something.
I object, Your Honor. How does he know what they were there for?
Sustained.
That's all, Your Honor.
You may step down.
If a couple of stray coyotes got into a fight in your front yard and killed themselves, that wouldn't prove that you raised coyotes.
Look, I don't know anything about the study of law, but I know there's not a grain of truth in anything these people claim.
Will you kindly let the defendant's counsel defend her?
From where I sit, Mrs. McElroy is a fine young woman, and she has 3 fine young children. Calling her guilty is the same as calling me a liar.
Are you threatening the jury, Mr. Bonner?
No, sir, but I certainly wouldn't like being called a liar.
Your Honor, I would like to proceed now with my defense.
If I hear one more peep out of either one of you, I'll hold you in contempt.
As Mr. Bonner said, none of the slander against Mrs. McElroy has been proved. Oh, but something else has. The institution of motherhood has been held up to contumely and scorn. The claim has been made that Mrs. McElroy is not a proper person or a proper mother. She is a widow. There are many such. Is this a crime that places a woman beyond the pale of Christian charity? What is she guilty of? Bringing 3 fine children into the world, maintaining them by her own industry, with no expense to the community, although it was necessary that she work in your local saloon to do so, not being able to find other employment. How could it be believed that heaven would be angry at her for having children, when to the little done by her toward it, God has been pleased to add his divine skill and admirable workmanship in the intricate formation of their bodies, and crowned it all by furnishing them with rational minds and immortal souls. Such laws as you invoke against her are cruel laws. They're unjust and unfair to nature and to every woman everywhere. Marriage laws were made for the protection of women and children. Does this protection cease when a wife becomes a widow? Women bring life into the world. That is our destiny, the creation of life. And I pray heaven that someday women will have a voice in the conduct of the state as well as in the home.
I think you will make an excellent teacher, Miss Purcell. We need your kind of spirit. And the children you teach will be fortunate to have known you. Inasmuch as the prosecution failed to present any proof of any of the allegations, I instruct you to bring in a verdict of not guilty.
Knowing right from wrong, that's not too difficult. But taking a stand for the right, well, sometimes that takes some doing. That day I rode into Ledge, there was a kind of hysteria in the air, as though a whole town were coming apart at the seams. The snow, this could be Christmas.
Yeah, they're busy, all right. Well, you might say we was trimming a tree. We're going to have a hanging.
I'm happy over a hanging?
Oh, they're just noisy at the prospect of some excitement. Who are you looking for, mister?
I mean Bob Cavis. I understand he has a cabin outside of town.
You a friend of Cavis?
I'm a friend.
Well, Bob's took himself a room in town. About where you see that little knot of men down there. Right.
And if we're going to have law and ledge, we're going to have law and no nonsense. Right.
You Sheriff Duncan?
He ain't here. Why do you ask?
I'm looking for a friend of mine, Bob Cavis.
How come you ain't dressed in black?
It's the second time I've asked about Cavis without getting a straight answer. Where is Sheriff Duncan?
Tom Duncan, the best man this town ever had, was shot dead by your friend.
I can't believe that.
Then come to the trial. Maybe that'll convince you.
When is the trial?
About an hour. It ain't proper to hang a man, at least you have a trial. Times is civilized.
Pretty soon you'll all be wearing hard collars.
Your friend's through that door. Just leave your gun.
You taking a liking to a cage?
Why not? After 10 years of it, it feels almost like home.
Did you kill Tom Duncan?
No.
Who did?
How should I know? I wasn't even at the cabin.
Tom Duncan wasn't shot at the cabin. He was shot on the trail into town. He had been to your cabin, and a set of footprints followed him out of your cabin. And your rifle was found close by.
You've got it all figured out, ain't you, mister?
The whole town's got it figured out. You've got 5 minutes, stranger, unless you want a place in here yourself.
All right, Bob. Let's have the whole thing.
Look, Vint, ride along. There's nothing you can do.
What does that mean?
I'm tired.
If you didn't do it, you don't have to pay for it.
Don't care much anymore, one way or the other.
You mean you'd let them hang you for a murder you didn't commit?
I didn't do anything at Ellsworth, neither.
Oh, no. Nothing much. You just got drunk with Billy McGill and these boys the night they shot up the bank. You got caught asleep at their camp. Oh, you were lucky. You got 10 years free room and board. Billy and his boys got the rope.
Yeah, I sure had a lot of luck. My wife died the year I was sent away. I got a 12-year-old boy I don't hardly know. Look, Vint, twice. I don't see nothing, I don't hear nothing, I don't do nothing. But the law comes around just the same. Well, they won't be around anymore.
I didn't know you had a boy. Where is he?
Up the cabin, I reckon. Don't worry on him.
What's going to happen to him?
He'll make out. He's a kid. Kids make out.
Oh, sure. Scar on the heart doesn't show.
Boss told me about you.
You don't believe your father did it, do you, Andy?
I don't know. Pa won't even let me see him. All I know is what the kids say in the Everett family. They took me in. They're good, but I don't want to listen to what they say about my father.
Your father didn't kill Sheriff Duncan.
It's hard living on only what you hear. I wish you'd just let me see him.
Your pa didn't do it.
Well, who did?
I don't know. But I'm going to try and find out, and you're going to help me.
Can I, Mr. Bonner? Can I, please?
Sure, boy. But we got to prove it. And we got to prove it legal. You understand?
Yes, sir.
We'll make it a fair fight, you and me.
I wish I could just see him, though.
Give him time, boy. Give him time.
Hey, now, who's going to be the prosecutor?
Yeah, that's right. So what?
The man that tells why you hang him.
Yeah.
Now, if it's going to be done legal, we got to have a prosecutor.
That's right.
I have been to Denver, and they
He's
haven't.
right. We have to have a prosecutor.
Now, sure, who's it going to be?
Why, Frank Kohler here. Who else? He's the only one who can pronounce a dang word. Besides that, we all owe him money.
Okay, Frank's prosecutor. Now we're going to need a judge. How about Doc Martin here? He's been to school.
He's a doctor. Besides, he can't see the ground with two looks.
Gentlemen, did I hear a request for my services?
Steady, Doc. The man don't need a boil, Lance. But you might take a look at his neck later.
Well, let's start her off.
Judge Martin, you're benched, sir. Go! Pete, tell Hyde to bring Cavis in.
Listen to him cackle. The hanging's solemn. No need to be taken on, screaming and drinking.
You're a stripe different, huh?
I'm the hangman. Oh, they don't think much of me. I'm just a little piece of dirt that best roll over or get stepped on. But I've been important. I worked my rope in some of the biggest towns.
This court is now in session. Frank, we oughtn't to start now. It's supposed to be a newspaper fella from Cooper City.
This ain't a sideshow, Hyde. Let's try to have some semblance of a trial.
Oh, well, we needed some girls, like Justice. I seen her picture once. She's a stand-up, handsome woman.
Bob Cavis, stand up to the bar. It's liable to be your last chance.
Go on, Mr. Prosecutor.
I'll be brief. Tom Duncan went down to see Bob Cavis. Pike here heard him say he was going. Right, Pike?
That's a fact, Frank. He told me he's... Cavis wore a jail suit for 10 years down in Kansas. Lawman's got a right to check on the next con.
Tom and Cavis must have quarreled about something. At any rate, Duncan had hardly left the cabin when Cavis ghost him on the trail. The tracks showed it plain. Now, you tell the rest, Ross.
Well, I found Tom dead. Blood was still warm in him. I followed the trail back to the cabin, and there it was. Cavis. Cabin was all tore up, but the rifle was still warm, with an empty shell in the chamber.
I guess that about does it. You want to declare sentence, Judge?
I declare a round of drinks on the house. Yeah! Speed this malefactor on his last journey.
This isn't any trial. It's a drunken farce. This man's innocent.
You think so, stranger?
The law thinks so. He's innocent until proven guilty. You haven't even given him a chance to plead.
What's the verdict, Judge? We want it, and we want it now.
Hang him by the neck tomorrow morning until he's dead.
I don't care if you've done it. Just please let me see you, Pa. You're the one who wants my father dead. You'd like to try that again?
Andy, give me the knife. Give me the knife.
I'm going home. Do as I say, going home.
Poor little bobcat.
Please him his father's pelt.
You know, we ought to trim his claws.
The boy's wrong. But I don't blame him. Here.
I hate them. Them in their courts. I'd like to...
Kill him?
deserve it.
Andy, I told you what we did had to be legal.
And what they do, that doesn't have to be illegal. Is that it?
It's what we do that's important.
You know, that's easy to say. But when this thing is finished, you're gonna ride off in your pony. And I'm gonna stay here with the people who killed my father. Now, how do you think I'm gonna feel, Mr. Bonner?
Look, Andy, I know how you feel. But it's the law that counts, not the kind of law they're using. There's more to it. It's come down for hundreds of years. It's all we've got. What we do has to be done the legal way.
Well, what do we do, Mr. Bonner?
I've got some questions. I'm going out and find some answers. Now, Andy, you stay here.
Hello, Sheriff.
What are you doing here?
I want to see my dad.
Says he ain't interested. Don't want to see it.
I know. I still want to see him.
All right, go ahead. You both deserve each other.
What you doing here, boy?
I got something. It's the sheriff's. I slipped it out of his holster while he was in here. I could have shot him, but I figured you'd want to do that.
I see, Karras. Just leave your gun.
Where'd you get this?
It's hides. I sneaked it out of his holster.
Andy, go on home. Go on. Do like Mr. Bonner says, son. He said he'd have killed Hyde himself, only he thought I'd want to do it. After that trial, what could he think? After tomorrow morning, he won't have to think about it. Just the rest of his life. You give up, and I don't know a better way to tip that boy the wrong way. What's that supposed to mean? You're stubborner than a bush steer, and you're feeling sorry for yourself. It takes a tough man to be a father. How many sons you got, Bonner? None, I'm sorry to say. You can have Andy. What? Take him, Vint. You can help him. If you're hung tomorrow morning, I'd be afraid to take him. All right, Vint. What can I do? First, do you have any idea who did it? No. Well, then give me something to work on. Guess. Think. How about that hangman? Pike. He ain't got the gravel to kill with a gun. He likes a man blindfolded with his arms tied. Besides, Tom Duncan was his brother. He's just a buzzard circling for the feast. Then how about Coulter? Owns everything in town but the air. But he hired Tom. Ain't likely he'd want him killed. That Ross Hyde now, I wouldn't introduce him to a cobra. What did he do before Tom was killed? Well, he was Tom's deputy. I don't know him well. I heard of him up in the Johnson War. He Rode with Tom Horn.
He said when he found you that the cabin was all torn up. Why?
I don't know why. I was out back chopping wood. I heard the shot and I run up to the cabin. It was already tore up. And then Hyde come and took me.
Why would the cabin be ransacked?
Looking for something, maybe.
Was the money from the bank robbery ever found?
Word was that a strong box with $30,000 disappeared. Buried in a canyon, I suppose, with a tribe of Indians hunkered over it. You know how stories build.
And there's always a map. You were the last man left alive in that robbery.
What did I tell you? He's got it on him right there in his belt.
Sheriff Hyde says you or the boy slipped his gun to give it to Cavis.
Don't get nervous. If we were going to use it, we wouldn't have waited for you to call up the home guard. The boy took it, and I took it from him. He had a very strange idea. He didn't want to see his father hung for something he didn't do. Make sense, Calder?
What makes sense, Bonner, is that since you came to Ledge, the boy's dangerous.
And we're not just suggesting this, we're going to tell you.
You take that boy and the both of you right out of this town.
Does he get a chance to say goodbye to his father?
He'll get a chance.
And you tell that kid no more tricks. We'll be watching him.
I'll do that. And you watch. Andy, that little trick you played with a gun bought us 2 tickets south tonight. We've got only one chance to save your father.
What do we do, Mr. Bonner?
It's a slim chance, but we'll have to take it. It's dangerous. It depends on you. Now, we'll need a piece of paper and an old envelope. The older, the better. Now, listen carefully.
Stove tomorrow morning, Ross. No need to stage the hangar too early.
Bonner! Just hold it right there. All right, go ahead. Come on. Give it. Yeah, that's right.
Pa, we're riding out, Mr. Bonner and me.
Together? You two? Good. Got yourself a new paw. Now, you mind what he says?
But he says you didn't do it. That they're killing you for hate. Like they killed that fella in the book.
What book? You know I don't read books.
The church book, Pa. The one we're all living by. The Everetts, the school marm, Frank Coulter, Pike Duncan, and Ross Hyde.
You read that book, son?
No, it's too long and full of queer names. But I learned a little bit of it. They teach it to us in school.
What you learned out of it?
Well, I learned that thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother. And I learned that thou shalt not kill.
Get it over with, kid. We ain't got all night.
I got something for you, Pa. I found it in the cabin.
Thanks, son.
It ain't much. Bye, Pa. In case I don't see you anymore.
Wait a minute. Here, you take this, boy. Open it after tomorrow. May make up to you for some of the things I never give you.
right there. Get your hands up, Bonner. Both hands. High, real high. Now you can turn around.
It ain't Ross Hyde. It's Pike Duncan.
Come here, boy. Come over here. Hurry up. You're a nice boy. Too bad you ain't gonna get a chance to grow up. Now, take that map.
What map?
The map to the Ellsworth Bank money. Oh, yes. Brother Tom got a confidential wire on it last week from the Ellsworth Marshal. $30,000 in a box. And it's all mine now. That's enough money to make a man grow wide as a mountain and shine like the sun.
And you killed your brother for it.
Well, you're a wise one, ain't you, Bonner?
Shot him in the back.
Yes, I shot him. He caught me going through the cabin looking for it, and he yelled. He yelled at me. He yelled he was ashamed to have me for a brother, and I killed him with Cavus's gun. But not just for the map. I hated Tom Duncan. I hated him. He always got the favors, and I got the scraps. Big. He was big. He was big as Cape Rock, and me down low, cold in the shadow. All right. Now you give me the map.
Give him the map, Andy.
This is blank. Ain't no map. Why, you thieving little...
Springs was kind of a refuge for me. It was a quiet little town in the valley. Jeb Lacey, an old friend of mine, had a booming mercantile business there. Also did double duty as town banker. He always had a job for me when I wanted one.
There you are, Zeke. They're all yours. Hi, Vint. I'll be with you in a minute.
No hurry, Mr. Lacey.
That'll be $2 each. Could I give you a hand with those, Zeke?
I can handle it.
That Zeke's a little scrawny, but he's a good citizen.
A little scrawny.
Well, how'd you go today?
Everything's smooth, no trouble.
Good job, as usual.
Now, what's on the slate for tomorrow?
I got a pouch of $3,000 going up to Oroville in the morning.
I'll be here at 6.
Vint, you're looking a little peaked. Maybe you better make that 7.
I haven't stayed in bed till 7 since I was a yearling, Mr. Lacey.
Look, I'm the boss around here. It's an order. 7 o'clock it is. See you then.
You're the boss.
Mind it if you give me half a chance.
Now, do be careful, old boy. It's genuine Morocco, you know.
Look, mister, I got a schedule to make, so don't give me any fancy names.
Well, it's brown leather with gold finishings. Quite good looking, if I do say so myself. It was a going-away gift from my great-uncle Percy Cadwallader. A favorite valise from a favorite great-uncle. Now, I wouldn't want to lose it. Look over there somewhere, won't you?
Is this it?
Ah, you found it, old man. Good for you. Great-uncle Percy simply would have been crushed if I'd lost it. Now, do be careful in handing it down. I say, old boy, is my cravat crooked?
No, I was just waiting to get by.
Oh, I am taking more room than I should. You will forgive me, I'm sure.
Sure.
I say, you seem a decent enough fellow. Could you direct me to the best hotel in town?
This is it. I'm staying here.
Yes, I have noticed accommodations here in Western America are a bit skimpy. But be that as it may, one must make do is my motto.
Sure.
Do you mind if I tag along?
No, come along.
I say, could I trouble you again? Is there a pub anywhere about?
Pub?
Oh, a pub, dear boy, is a place to get a nip of brandy and the like. Something to wash this insufferable western dust out of my throat.
You mean a saloon? Sure, there's one in the hotel here.
Oh, a saloon, is it?
Saloon.
Well, I expect that will have to do. Would you take that one, please? Thank you. I say you've been terribly kind, Mr.
Bonner, Ben Bonner.
Oh, my name is Archibald Jarrett, the third. The pleasure is distinctly mine, Mr. Bonner.
Joe, I get any mail?
I say, isn't it a smashing coincidence, Mr. Bonner? I have a Vint in my own family.
Oh?
It's a second or third cousin on my Aunt Desiree's side. Or is it on my great-uncle Percy's? Well, stunning fellow anyway. Wouldn't it be funny if we were related?
That would be funny. Joe! Joe! This man wants a room.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Bonner. Why not allow me to buy you a snifter of brandy? It's amazingly good for the complexion, you know.
I could use a drink.
That's right. After all, where else do we have to go? I'll cheer up this grouchy old man, and then I'll meet you in the bar. Why don't you run on ahead? Now, where do you want me to sign this little book? Thank you.
Bonnie, you old hound dog, you. Come on over here. Have a drink with me. Hey, bartender, bring over another glass, will you?
What, this is the first time I've seen you since Arizona.
Yeah, well, I'm just passing through now. Got to pull out in a short while again. Say, you know, the last time I saw you was that time you had me locked up in the ice house in Phoenix. You know, I almost froze my legs off.
Well, look, Mort, if you wouldn't play jokes on your friends, they wouldn't have to play them back on you. You know why I left you in the ice house? You took half the powder out of my cartridges the afternoon of the turkey shoot. And those boys that bet the $500 on me to win were pretty mad.
Well, I guess those days are gone forever, huh, Vin?
Could be.
It was a mite dangerous, but it sure was fun. Sure is good to see you again.
You gonna leave right away?
Yeah, I'm pulling out in about 10 minutes.
Oh.
Well, now, Vin, I'll be seeing you again in about 2 years, huh? Don't you take any wooden dollars.
I'll take care.
Vint, you'll pay for the drinks, huh?
Same old Mort.
Fascinating. Such dexterity. But forgive me, Mr. Bonner, I've changed the subject, momentarily taken with a bit of your local color. As I remember, we were talking about me. Now, before we go on, may I make one humble request?
Go right ahead.
Please, don't call me a writer. The proper term is journalist.
Oh.
You see, I'm in your country on an assignment for several British journals, doing a series of articles on the American West's common cowboy.
Common cowboy. Well, I'm amazed you chose this section. Nothing very exciting happens around here.
Oh, but that's where you're wrong. You see, a true journalist always finds something to write about.
Why did you come to Burning Springs?
Oh, I hate to admit it, Mr. Bonner. It was the name that intrigued me. Burning Springs. You know, I can't wait to see them.
Matter of fact, I'd like to see them myself.
How about another?
I can take a short one.
Bartender, 2 of the same. You know, this colonial brandy is amazingly good.
Pretty good.
I'm afraid I've been frightfully selfish, old boy. My great-uncle Percy, may he rest in peace, tried admirably to break me of the habit of always talking about myself. Looks like I've gone and done it again. Tell me, Mr. Bonner, what sort of work do you do?
Oh, nothing much. I ride for Lacey's Mercantile. I deliver money.
Oh, sounds terribly exciting.
Matter of fact, it's kind of dull, but I like it.
Oh, you're being terribly modest. How about my riding one trip with you on your job? For research, it would make smashingly good reading.
Wouldn't do any harm. Can you ride?
Oh, now you're joking, old boy. I was equestrian leader at my prep school for 2 years running. Where I come from, that's a jolly good job of work.
All right, tomorrow. That too soon?
Oh, perfect. Shall we drink to our adventure together? To the morrow.
So the dude's a writer.
That's right, old man, but what...
Well, then how come I never heard of you?
I do say, old boy, are you sure you know how to read?
All right, cowboy, on your way.
You just stay out of this, common cowboy.
It's all right, Mr. Bonner. Let the gentleman proceed. He seems to want some sort of satisfaction.
Mr. Jarrett, suppose we have something to eat.
I never did like dudes in general, and you in particular.
Now, that is a shame. Do you know, sir, you are uncouth.
Oh, I ain't good. I'm as good as you are.
you very much, Mr. Bonner, but it really wasn't necessary for you to intercede. You see, one must always have the means to defend oneself if the occasion should arise. Now, shall we have a bite of supper? Exercise always did give me an appetite.
I see. Well, sit down right over here.
Thank you.
You know, for a stranger in our country, you take care of yourself pretty well.
Oh, think nothing of it, old boy. Think nothing of it at all. Now, what's on the menu for tonight?
Buffalo steaks, I think.
Oh, by Jove, great Uncle Percy would have loved that. Buffalo steak.
What are you doing?
Oh, taking notes, of course. I don't want to forget a thing. I have a wretched memory. Buffalo steaks. By Jove, what luck. Good morning, Mr. Bonner. Looking for me, I trust?
In fact, I was.
Shall we go?
Sure. Morning, Mr. Lacey.
Oh, hi, Vint. You all ready to go?
Already, this is Mr. Jared. He's a friend of mine.
Oh, what's your pleasure, Mr. Jared? Chewing tobacco?
Oh, no, I'm afraid not.
Mr. Jared is a writer, a journalist from England. He's doing some research on the West. I told him I was taking some money to Arlville today.
Vince's been kind enough to let me come along.
If it's all right with you, Mr. Lacey.
Well, I guess so. There's over $3,000 in this pouch. A little company might come in handy.
$3,000 seems a frightful sum to leave lying about.
That's why I'm sending it up to Orville. They got a good, strong bank up there. And with Vint taking it, I know it'll get there.
You have a wonderful faith in human nature, Mr. Lacey. I must remember that.
And let's move.
$3,000.
Harlan? Got my horse?
There he is, Mr. Bonner. He's all ready for you.
Good. Bring that horse for Mr. Jared out, too.
We got one that's rested up real good, sir.
I say, that's a cumbersome-looking contraption. You don't suppose they'd have an English saddle anywhere about?
Oh, I haven't heard of an English saddle in this territory.
Here he is right here, sir.
No, I suppose they don't have one. Do you suppose you could give me a leg up English style?
Let's try anything once. How do you go about it?
Just take my ankle.
Oh?
Thank you. I say, what a frightful waste of leather.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I do believe we're being followed.
Oh, there's a bend up ahead. Straight stretch afterwards. We'll lose them there.
Do you suppose they could be after the money?
We aren't going to wait around and ask them. Come on.
Hold it! If I was you, I'd look around before I get any ID. If you behave yourself, there'll be no need for guns. Now, unbuckle that belt real easy and let it drop. Get down. Not you, Fancy. You'll be going with us.
I don't understand.
You will. All right, off with your pants and shirt.
What is this?
Please don't argue, friend. It's not courtesy in front of guests. Hurry it up. Man just don't look right without his hat.
All right. Drink fancy over here. Have a nice stroll, mister.
This is the biggest joke of the century. I can just see him walking into town, the underwear kid, wearing boots and hat and long johns.
I'd say your plan has been a smashing success.
A smashing success. You were perfect, Jared. What would your Uncle Percy say if he saw you now, huh?
Please, Mr. Askins, my great Uncle Percy is no laughing matter. Nevertheless, I dare say he would be quite proud.
What about the money, boss? Oh, we take it back.
I'd hate to be a wet blanket and all that, old man. But despite the fact that you're an old friend of Vint Bonner's, he's going to be very happy if he can tear you to pieces.
Thank you for the warning, Jared. But you know, I couldn't have pulled this off without your help. I wouldn't be surprised if he was saving a few licks for the English. Well, come on, fellas, we better get back to town.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
How about it, Jim? All there?
Oh, it seems to be. But now, what is all this nonsense, and where's Vint?
Well, you see, Vint and me are old friends. We used to work the range together, and we sort of got in the habit of working a practical joke on each other now and then.
And you, Jared, were you in on this too?
Oh, I wouldn't have missed it at any cost. It was a beautiful, delightful scheme. I do believe it has classic possibilities.
You know, Jared and I arranged the whole thing.
I saw Vince's horse over at the stable. Now how's he going to get back?
He should be walking in at any moment.
Yeah, in his underwear.
Oh, no.
Mr. Lacey, I was robbed.
Mr. Haskins here brought the money in, Vince.
4 men. They had 2 shotguns and 2... Mr. Who?
Mort Haskins here. He says he's an old friend of yours. He planned the whole thing.
Now, don't be a bad sport, Vint. I can remember the time you had me locked up in that slaughterhouse in Kansas City overnight. Those hogs got a little potent before the night was over.
Who are you, mister?
Oh, it's me, Mort. You gotta remember. What's the matter with you, Vint? Can't you take a joke anymore? You gotta admit it was a pretty good one. Come on inside and get your clothes.
I don't know you from Adam. All I know is if you brought that money in, you had something to do with a robbery. That's up to the sheriff here.
Who's that English dude, anyway?
The money. I left the money right here.
Are you sure?
This, gentlemen, is what I believe you call a holdup. Will you join your friends, Mr. Bonner? I hope you're not as foolish a man as you look right now. Don't worry, Mr. Lacey. I shall take very good care of your money. Now, gentlemen, I would hate to be the cause of any violence. Would you kindly remove your guns and place them somewhere out of reach?
The joke's over, Jared. We've had our laugh.
The guns! a warped sense of humor you have, Mr. Askins. Haven't you noticed? The joke's just begun. And I really am a very excellent shot, even with this cumbersome weapon. I hope you don't make me prove it.
Oh, just a minute.
This time, I only took a tuck in your arm. Now, a word of warning to all of you, my friends. I'm no amateur at this sort of thing. My great-uncle Percy taught me the trade quite well. But I have made some unfortunate mistakes, which puts me in a rather difficult position. You see, I have 2 previous convictions in Virginia and 1 in a forlorn place called Boston. I have no intention of getting another. As I understand, they're quite strict here in America with the 4th offender. Isn't that right, Sheriff? Now, don't be such a bore, Sheriff. It isn't as if I were taking any of your money. You have no reason to be sullen.
Believe me, Vint, I didn't know what he was. You sure pick up with the darndest friends.
That is a shame. And I thought he was such a good judge of human nature. And to shoot him with his own gun. I must enlist your aid once more, Mr. Bonner. I'm sure you won't mind this last time.
What about Lacey?
An admirable thought. He is not that badly hurt that he couldn't wait a moment while I make an appropriate exit. Would you kindly incapacitate our friends? You must admit it would save further unpleasantries. I do so detest bloodletting. Would you gentlemen mind standing back to back? Mr. Bonner, must I remind you that I shall inspect your handiwork? Surely an accomplished cowboy like you can do better than that. That's better. Mr. Askins, I noticed today that your horse seems to be stronger than mine. I'm sure you won't mind the trade.
How far do you think you'll get?
Mexico, Canada, China, the South Seas. Possibilities are infinite when one has money. After you, Mr. Bonner. And remember, this gun will be trained on you every moment. One more favor, Mr. Bonner, and I'll trouble you no longer. You'll give me a leg up as you did before. And, Mr. Bonner, I trust you will be discreet and attempt no heroics. I would so dislike putting an unsightly hole through your head. Now make it snappy, old boy. My time for goodbyes has just been slashed to the bone. The reins, please.
How much do you suppose he could get?
Well, after all, he did commit the robbery.
And he instigated the whole thing, too.
Well, now, wait a minute, Vint.
Let me see. Attempted robbery. That's 5 years.
Oh, 5.
Possession of stolen goods. Another 2 years, maybe.
7.
Oh, that's 7.
Harboring a known fugitive. 3 more years.
Oh,
10 years?
10.
Could amount to a tidy sum.
No, look here, Sheriff. You listen to me. I don't know. I never had it. This fellow, I never...
Have you no consideration at all? After all, we were caught rather red-handed, as the saying goes.
You stay out of this!
I find it hard to believe that he's the criminal type.
Some men start late in life, you know. We still got to hold him till a circuit judge gets here next month.
Mama, Vince, you can't leave me alone in this jail.
See what you mean. True criminal face, and the temper to match.
Yeah, well, don't worry. We know how to take care of his kind.
I say, Sheriff, is there any way I can get some peace and quiet in here?
Do you think your Uncle Percy will bail you out?
You couldn't very well do that, old boy. Dead, you know. Hanged him 8 years ago in London for murder. Messy old man. Always used the razor. Oh, well.
Well, Mort. Goodbye. Pretty good judge of people. Thought I'd seen most every kind of crook, too. That is, until I met some of the strange new residents of a town called Happy Hollow. I'd ridden across one state and a territory to help Aldrich Newton celebrate 20 years in newspapering. Happy Hollow didn't look so very happy. And old Newt's newspaper, the Happy Hollow Harbinger, didn't look so good either.
Hello, Vince. Am I glad to see you?
What in the world happened?
You're just in time for the wake.
Well, is this the way you celebrate 20 years of newspaper?
Friend, I just crusaded myself right out of business.
Tell me about it.
Remember Blair Weeks?
Sure, I remember him. He used to do all his arguing with a six-shooter.
Oh, he's come up in the world. Even as a pair of hired guns working for him. Yep, he's got this town right in the palm of his hand.
Well, how about you? Anybody on your side? The sheriff? The mayor?
The sheriff? The mayor? You take a mayor with expensive taste, he needs a mansion more than we need a schoolhouse. You take a sheriff with an appetite like a horse, he needs a hotel more than we need a jail. And you take a judge who fights the roulette table by the hour, he needs a gambling house more than we need a church.
Who's doing the pay?
Cost the people $5,000. That's why I went in a crusade.
Anyone backing you up?
Oh, the town's in my side, all right, but when the mayor hired Blair Weeks to see him through the election, the whole town ducked for cover.
When is the election?
Took place last week. Got themselves re-elected by due process of crime. Thought I had him cornered last Friday. I printed a letter from the governor thanking the Harbinger for reporting the grave state of affairs here in Happy Hollow and promising to send a special investigator.
When is he due in?
He isn't. Governor didn't write the letter. I did. Now I'm out of business.
I helped you put old Horace Greeley together here, remember?
Yeah, you was just a youngster.
And I don't want to see it shut up. Any more than I want to see you shut up.
Won't be easy, Vint.
You used to tell me that nothing good ever comes easy, remember?
Vint, I have a feeling we might hold that celebration after all.
Let's get this place straightened up.
It was Bent Bonner. I know how he looks and I know how he shoots.
Well, the trouble with our sheriff is, ever since old Newt pulled his bluff about that special investigator coming down here from the Capitol...
How do you know it was a bluff? Like I was saying before the judge interrupted us, Bent Bonner's a sight more to worry about than any special investigator.
Blair Weeks has 2 hole cards. Bonner's got none.
Go fetch Bonner.
You mean Blair Weeks, don't you?
No, you fool, Bonner. Now go on.
You know, if you was behind the roulette wheel, I'd say you were fixing for a crooked spin.
I sure am.
I'm hiring Bonner to get rid of Blair Weeks for me.
Well, what for?
Because I want my town back.
Oh, so if Bonner does win out, he'll move right in like Blair did.
That's where you're wrong. Bonner's got an itchy saddle. He can't stand to be tied down anywhere.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, daughter.
You're perspiring again. Now, has somebody been making you nervous?
Oh, go upstairs. I'm expecting a visitor.
A man?
What did you think, a horse?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I'm very upset. You'll have to stay out of his sight.
You know, it might just as well be a horse, after all.
The way old Newt accepted the mayor's invite for me, I knew he must have something up his sleeve. Trouble was, I didn't know what. Only thing I could do was kind of feel my way through the situation.
I'm Mayor Love, Mr. Bonner. Welcome to Happy Hollow.
Thank you. I've already been welcomed.
Well, come on in. Come on in. Oh, Judge Adams, I want you to meet Bonner.
Well, how are you?
Hello, Judge.
Has Newton told you about us?
Oh, foul slander. Open and shut case or open and shut case.
I heard about you boys up at the Capitol.
How are things at the Capitol, Mr. Bonner?
Rena, we're talking business.
I know. Go to your room and don't interrupt.
Well, getting back to old Newt.
He thinks we're in league with one Blair Weeks and his gunman.
When the truth of the matter is, we have to submit to them or they'd ravage our town.
Oh, we put up with a lot.
You just give me one good deputy, like yourself, and I'd show 'em who's boss around here.
Or even a marshal of Mr. Bonner's caliber.
The job pays better.
Yes, and a marshal of Mr. Bonner's caliber could name his own price.
And rate a bonus, maybe.
I see. Well, it sounds like a job for a good man. I've got one.
Tell Blair it's got to look like a personal quarrel. I don't want Bonner's death traced to me.
If only he'd have seen things our way.
Yes, he seems so nice. Coming from the Capitol and all.
Well, he isn't nice.
The Capitol? That's why he went direct to Aldrich Newton. He's the special investigator.
The special investigator?
Well, I still think he's nice.
He's come back.
Rena, upstairs. Oh, it's you.
We thought you was Vint Bonner coming back.
He's the special investigator.
So that's what he was doing at the Harbinger, huh? We'll have to take care of him.
But you killed Bonner, and the cavalry hit Happy Hollow like a swarm of locusts.
That's right.
Oh, will you stop digging our graves? We're a long way from being dead.
What do you got in mind?
My daughter.
Serena? No, you don't.
It's only temporary until we've got Bonner hooked.
You, wouldn't have said the same thing about me?
Now, look, you can't kill a special investigator and get away with it. And if we let him investigate, we're sunk. Rena's my only chance.
Why not bribe him?
Not until Rena softened him up.
All right, we'll try it.
Then here's the play. Now, first, you've got to make him think that he scared you out of town.
Bonner?
Yes. Then circle back here and hide in my cellar.
Why?
Well, because I want you near. You'll know what's going on.
I'll buy it. But only until noon tomorrow.
That's mighty short rope.
10 minutes after 12, and it'll be like the judge said. You wish the cavalry had come.
the weight of the world right off my shoulders.
What do you suppose made Blair Weeks and his men leave town?
Why, he saw Vint Bonner and got scared. It's that simple.
There's Bonner herself.
Well, Happy Hollow owes you a vote of thanks, Mr. Bonner.
Now that jail is as broken down as your office.
Yep, you can break out of one as easy as you can break into the other.
Now, I know what you're thinking, but with Blair Weeks gone, I can talk freely.
I'm not interested.
Mayor's entitled to respect, Vin.
That's right nice of you, Newt.
Will you come to my house alone?
Of course he will.
Judge Adams wanted to see you.
Oh, he did, eh? I'll be with you directly, Mr. Bonner. Now, you make yourself right at home.
Why, it's Mr. Bonner. Hello. I'm Serena. Papa said I could be very friendly with you. Would you like to kiss my hand?
Afraid I'm not the type.
Or whatever type you are. I like it. Don't you think I'm pretty?
Yes, you're pretty.
I think that all girls should be soft and nice. All over. Don't you? None of my ribs show. Sit down. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't like this town, and I'd like to get away, but, well, it's so difficult for a single girl and all.
Well, while you're talking, let's be completely honest. I don't like the town either. But your father made it what it is. Why? And where do you fit in?
Do you have any money?
Money? No, I don't.
Oh, that's too bad. But I suppose some men are like that. I mean, until they find the right girl.
Why, maybe you're right.
Well, you two getting acquainted, I see.
Papa, Mr. Bonner hasn't a cent to his name.
Look, Mayor, I'm going to be frank with you. You collected money for a new jail.
We did.
And a schoolhouse.
Just what our town needs.
And a church.
Well, Blair Weeks absconded with the funds.
That's right, every blasted cent.
You say Mr. Bonner has no money?
He just told me so himself.
Now, gentlemen, did you ever hear of such a thing? A man of influence without money?
Well, no.
Well, do something about it. Oh, Rena, weren't you and Mr. Bonner going for a ride?
Nobody said anything about it.
He means he doesn't like me.
But I think it might be a very nice idea.
Oh, I think it would be a lovely idea.
Now, don't you worry about hurrying back, dear. I know that you're in very good hands.
Oh, I'm going to take you to the most beautiful, romantic spot you've ever seen.
Hey! Greatest piece of luck I ever saw. 8 sevens in a row. And it's yours, Bonner. All yours.
Are you local?
But I won it for you. 1,000 cash.
$1,000?
Yes.
1,000 measly dollars.
I'll just double that for you.
Rena goes only to a man of wealth and influence.
Well, it seems as how Mr. Bonner has a mind of both.
Especially influence. I see what you mean. That begins to seem possible. You might call it a problem.
Oh, no, don't even think such a thing.
Shall we go, Serena? Special investigators sure come high. Blair? It's working. That daughter of yours, she's got a heart like a weather vane. Now, you know as well as I do that she's doing this under orders. She don't act to me like she's making any sacrifices. We'll play it my way as long as I'm in charge around here. All right, you're in charge around here. Till noon tomorrow. We were talking about being honest back at your house.
Yes.
Tell me something. Do you like the life that you and your father lead?
No. I mean, all those men that he makes me be nice to and everything. That's why I want to leave. I could go anywhere with a man like you, Vint.
Or, Blair Weeks.
No.
Tell me about Blair Weeks.
I could tell an awful lot about Blair Weeks. To the man who'd take me away from here.
I see. Almost 9. You'd think she'd show a little consideration. Wait till I get my hands on her, and him. Now, just be patient. I'm running out of patience. This doesn't mean that Rita ran out on us. There, she didn't. Rena, is he hooked? Got him primed to leave town? Well, where is he? What did he say? Did he promise anything? Well, Rena, speak to me. She didn't, huh? You acting a mite hasty, Newt? Now, sit down here. I got a few things to tell you.
I'd feel a sight better if you'd let me call in some mannequin first to back you up.
No, Newt. We'll do it my way.
What kind of talk is that? You don't know where Bonner is. Look, you've got 1 hour and a half to get him out of town.
I tell you, he'll be along directly. Now, it's all fixed. Rena and I are taking the noon stage to the Capitol. Bonner's got to come along. What do you mean, got? Well, because he's human.
Vince, you naughty boy. Now, where have you been? Now, sit down.
That floor up there is a regular sounding board.
That's fine. That's fine. So you keep talking good and loud or I'll know the double cross is on.
You're just about the shrewdest critter this side of Doc.
I am?
Yes, sir. You made yourself a fortune overnight.
And there it is.
Well, I guess I am kind of smart at that.
Well, Vint, how are you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I never felt better in my life.
Me too. In fact, I feel so good that I'm going to join you two lovebirds on the noon stage.
Oh, I'm afraid that'll be kind of impossible now.
Oh, but Vince, you promised me last... No, you can't go back on your word.
Now, dear, I'm not backing out on anything, but I've taken a look around your town, and Happy Hollow seems to me like a nice place to settle down in.
Settle down? Here?
You can't do that to us.
But Vint, you're much too big for Happy Hollow.
Oh, I can't go back to the capital, not with all this money.
Well, then go somewhere else.
Well, I like it here. Besides, it was big enough for Blair Weeks, it's big enough for me. And Rena's been telling me all about it.
Rena.
Well, I don't see what difference it makes. It's all in the family, anyway.
No objections, I hope.
I object.
Me too.
Serena, how could you do this to me?
Because Vint and I are in love with each other.
He can hear every word you say.
Get up.
Get down there.
Get over there.
Get down.
Down.
Do you know who's in the cellar?
I warned them.
Well, you know you're asking for a showdown, don't you? Well, it's 3 against 1. This isn't any of my fight.
I never thought you were a coward.
Both of you, get out of here.
Do you realize what it means to double-cross Blair Weeks?
Yes, Your Honor. That's what it means, Your Honor. Serena, get out.
I'm not leaving.
I'd just as soon shoot right through that no-good double-crosser. I'm going to start shooting at the count of 3. 1, 2.
The town is ours now, Vint. We don't have to share it with anybody else. It belongs to us.
Town belongs to itself, to the people in it. Folks like yourself, your father, you're through.
I could change.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your father. I thought Blair'd come gunning for me. About your changing, you've got a whole lifetime to find out. Took the town a little while to recover, but old Newt made a very good mayor. And my bribe money went quite a ways toward the new schoolhouse and the jail, not to mention the church. Serena, I heard that she'd applied for a job as a school teacher. Didn't fit somehow.
One of my favorite people, Lemuel Shepard, M.D., patched up 2 big holes for me once. One of them a bullet hole in my right leg, and the other in my philosophy of life.
Shepard.
Why, Vint. Vint Bonner, you old scallywag. Where'd you come from? Come right in this house. Am I glad to see you? Let me look at you. Ah, you look good, boy. You put on some years, 5, 10, how many?
Well, I don't know exactly.
It doesn't matter. Say, you hungry, huh?
Well, I could eat something.
That's a foolish question to ask. Now sit down, I'll fix you something to eat. Oh, wait a minute. How's the leg?
Oh, it's been all right, hasn't it?
Come on, get the boot off. Let me see it.
All right, Doc, but I tell you, it's perfectly all right.
I didn't do you any favor, son.
What do you mean?
It's a bad scar. Clumsy surgery. You shouldn't be able to see that at all.
Look, it's all right. It never bothered me at all. As good as new.
Well, I see what I've got to eat. I ain't got much. People around here are peaceful and prosperous now. They pay in cash. You know, I miss that beef and pork and the grub I used to get paid with. Well, I'll see what I can rustle up, son.
What is it? Who is this?
I don't know. It's the boy, Vint. He's had a terrible beating.
Someone just drop him here?
Wait, Bench. I'll need your help. I gotta get him inside. He might be hurt bad. If anything's broken, I don't want to compound it. It's a wonder he's still alive.
Couldn't he have fallen down a bank or off a cliff or a horse or something?
Then I've been treating kids for accidents like that for 30 years. No, siree. This boy was beaten. What kind of person would beat a boy like this?
I don't know. Hey, Doc, I found something. Looks like one of those skip rocks we used when we were kids. Got some names on it.
What names?
Mark and Luke.
Mark and Luke? Where'd you get it?
In his pants pocket.
I wonder if one of these is his name. M.A. What's that mean?
Could be Ma for mother.
We better get the sheriff. This boy could be hurt bad internally.
Where'd I most likely find him now?
Check the saloon. If he isn't there, someone will know where he is.
How about it, Mayor?
Nope. I'm pretty sure he doesn't belong to anybody in this town, and I know everyone hereabouts. Sure looks like he took a terrible beating.
That he did.
I don't think anyone around here could have done it. We've had a real quiet town for the last few years.
Then you better get some rest. I'll stay up and watch the boy.
I'll do that. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do some tracking.
Find out anything?
Not much. Few hoof prints. Anyone recognize the boy?
No. Like I said, he's not from hereabouts.
I see. Any change in him?
He's got his eyes open.
You mean he's conscious?
No, I wouldn't say that. He just stares, almost as though he's in a coma.
I see. Let's have another look at him. Mayor, have you got any idea when your sheriff will be back?
Couldn't be before 3 days, maybe a week.
I see. See you later.
Be home if you need me.
Good. He's coming out of it.
Are you Mark? Are you Luke? Where's your ma?
I wished we was all dead.
All right. All right now. Poor kid. Well, I
feel better about him now than I did.
Is he going to be all right?
I don't know. But I better get somebody to stay with him.
How is he, Doc? He's better. He'll be all right.
Could he tell you anything?
We didn't try to talk to him much, but we will. We'll find out. Frank, would you ride over to the Widow Crawford's ranch and ask her to come and sit with the boy for a spell?
Yeah, and if any of the ranch folks come to town, send them over here. I want them to have a look at this youngster. I'm going downtown to talk to the mayor. Looks to me like this town needs a lawman. If I say my words just right, maybe he'll deputize me. I'd sure like to get my hands on the man that did this.
If I don't get a nap, I won't be no hootin' good for anything.
I'll see you later.
It ain't like you to go off half-cocked.
Look, Lem, I know I'm not the smartest man in the world, and this is probably none of my business. But every time I look at that boy in there, my stomach turns over. You haven't got any law around here, so I'm going to do something about it. I wouldn't sleep right if I didn't try.
Yeah, but... Yes?
You Vin Bonner?
I'm Vin Bonner.
I'm Eli Edwards. I do some mining. I hear you have a boy here all beat up and hurt.
You heard right.
He's going to be all right?
Probably, but it'll take a long time. He took an awful walloping.
You know anything about it?
No, but I've seen a real strange rig. Real strange.
Where?
Oh, about 6 miles out by Crickeshaw Creek Ford. Looked like a hearse instead of a wagon.
What makes you think it had anything to do with the boy?
Oh, I don't know. It was a real strange rig. I thought I heard a voice, too, singing hymn-like music. Then it stopped. I got kind of curious. So after I ate, it was dark, except for the moonlight. I thought I'd stretch my leg a bit. So I walked over toward the camp, and I got a little close. I couldn't see nobody around. You know, my eyes are not so good. So I got a little closer, and I could see some writing on the wagon. It said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I was just looking at your wagon. I was curious to see what you had written on it. You see, my eyes are not so good.
You believe what it says?
Huh? Yeah, well, I guess so. Of course, that vengeance business can be overdone, you know.
You laughing at the word of the Lord?
No. Wait a minute. No. Take it easy. I got back to my camp as fast as I could. If he'd have hit me with that whip of his, he'd have cut me half in two. I don't mind telling you, I ain't never been so scared in all my life. He must have got out in the middle of the night. Of course, the next morning, I looked around.
Did you see anything?
Yes, I saw a grave. Fresh dug.
Say, Doc, what would you say he was beaten with?
How do you mean?
I mean, a stick or a fist?
Oh, I see what you're driving at. I'd say it was something heavy, soft on the outside that wouldn't scratch or cut.
Like maybe the leather-wrapped handle of a bullwhip?
The leather-wrapped handle of a bullwhip. Yeah, that'll do it.
Should be around here someplace.
The old miner said it was at the foot of some big rocks.
Should be those over there, maybe. Hey, look to the left, under the trees. Come on. Well, there's How's the other name, Doc?
Yeah?
Luke.
Same as on the rock. What's it mean, Vint?
I wish I knew. All I know is it's got some connection.
Well, there's only one thing to do. Open up the grave.
Can't do that.
I'm deputy coroner of this county. I've got the authority.
All right. Looks like we'll have to use our hands. See if we can find a couple of sharp sticks.
That's all there is there.
Nothing but hard ground under that.
What do you figure it means, Vint?
Can't mean but one thing. Someone wants to convince somebody else that Luke, if that's the boy, is dead and buried here.
Wish I could go with you, Vint, but I better get back to that boy. Now, you be careful.
I'll take care. If the sheriff shows up, point him in this direction, will you? I'll leave some sort of sign.
I'll do that. Now, goodbye, Vint.
None of this made much sense. An empty grave, a strange story about a stranger man told by a little old prospector. One thing I did know. A young boy had been beaten half to death. And I was going to find the man who'd done it.
Get the water off the back of the wagon, woman. You, boy, tell me again how deep you buried him.
About 3 or 4 feet, Pa. Just like I said.
Still can't see what took you so long, or why you needed a horse.
The ground was real hard, Pa. He was too heavy to carry far.
And the Lord commanded Abraham to bring as a living sacrifice his own son.
I couldn't be too sure, but I guessed it had about a 12-mile start. If I was going to catch up by nightfall, I'd have to take a chance and try shortcuts. That wagon would have to stick to the low ground between the ridges. Scar and I could cross them. That had to be his camp. There wouldn't be anyone in this country except Indians, and they wouldn't be that careless with the smoke. From the distance, I guessed I'd make it just after nightfall.
We will now have our lesson for the evening. The Lord thy God is a jealous God. He shall put an enmity between thee and woman. He shall multiply thy sorrow. Cursed is the ground for his sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. God knows the wickedness of man, and that the thoughts of his heart are only evil.
He will bruise thy head.
I could have sworn I heard something that sounded like preaching. Looked like a peaceable family having a peaceable meal. Threw me some. The wind in these hills plays funny tricks with the sounds of the night.
All right, woman. You two, Mark. 2 lashes each tonight. Was not so bad. For the good of your soul.
Why? I don't understand why.
I don't know quite why, but I decided to do something I'd seen animals do. Pretend I was hurt.
Hello. Stay where you are, stranger. Who are you? What do you want?
My name's Bonner. I saw the smoke from your fire. Thought I'd find some company. My horse threw me this morning. Don't mean to intrude, but if you'd let me use your fire, I could heat up some food. I guess being on the trail alone for a few days gives a man funny fancies. I could have sworn I heard something that sounded like preaching when I was coming up the valley down there.
That was my voice. I carry the word of God.
Oh. Well, I'm not going out of my head anyway. Sure didn't figure to run into a preacher on the trail.
I'm not a preacher. I'm God's own man.
Yeah. Well, it didn't sound exactly like regular preaching. Of course, you couldn't tell by me. It's been a long time since I was in church.
I, too, was a lost soul. I, my family, until the word come to me.
When was this?
It was during the war, in which we killed and were killed. It was Antietam, Chickamauga, Gettysburg. It was when the ground was soaked with blood. It was when the hounds of heaven was let loose. It was then that God told me I was his man. And I was to be the instrument of his vengeance and his pain. We're all born in sin. We die in sin. And the only trial of man is pain. More pain.
Sounds right interesting. Though I don't recall the Bible saying it just that way.
Didn't I tell you I was God's own man? I'm above the Bible.
I wondered if it'd be too much trouble if I'd bed down over here tonight. Maybe we could continue this talk tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd say that was all right.
Much obliged. I'll just bed down over here in the trees. Firelight keeps me awake. Good night.
Was it you that dumped him on the doctor's porch, all beaten up? Answer me. Then it must have been you that buried the log. Would you and your mother like to get out of this?
That thing.
I am the Lord God Jehovah. I am the...
I've lived too close to nature all my life not to know that there's a divine spirit. And I've never seen in nature the cruelty and madness that sometimes comes out in man himself.
But you could have killed him, Mr. Bonner. Why did you just shoot him in the hand?
Well, the gun's not only for killing, Robbie. The gun's kind of a tool.
A tool?
Sure. Just like a hoe or an axe. Say, did I ever tell you about my grandfather?
Nope.
Well, his name was Jebediah Bonner.
People mostly call him Jeb. He was a marshal, and a good one. Good enough to stay alive and retire. I was a boy about your age. My ma and pa had been killed before I remembered, and Grandpa Jeb had seen to it that I was raised with Doc Ludlow and his wife. Grandpa Jeb was coming home that day. That's all I'd been able to think about for weeks. It's good to see you, boy.
I'm glad to see you too, Grandpa. I've missed you terrible.
You have. Well, let's take a look at you. My, you must have grown half a foot since I saw you last.
Martha, why don't you take the boy along home? I'll take Jeb in here and buy him a beer. He must be pretty dry and dusty after 2 days on that stage.
Now, that sounds like a fine idea.
I've learned to write real good, Grandpa, and I can do sums, and I can ride a horse,
And you can do just about everything, can't you? Well, you go along home with your Aunt Martha, and I'll be along directly. We've got a lot of time to talk about all the things you can do.
Jeb, suppose we just take that prescription I mentioned a moment ago. Two beers. This be the first of a million of them, Jeb. You've earned every one of them.
You're Jeb Bonner, aren't you?
I know you, young feller.
No, you never laid eyes on me, but I know all about you. I hear they retired you, Bonner. You know, that's something. I mean, all the towns you tamed, and you still alive to retire. Now, you must be pretty good.
Good at what?
Well, I've heard you shot it out with quite a few. Some pretty good men, the way I hear. Bad ones, but some pretty good men.
Line between a good man and a bad man's mighty fine. And the older you get, the smaller it gets.
I'll buy you a drink.
No, thank you. One's enough for me in the heat of the day.
Oh, come on now. One more ain't gonna hurt an old retired hero like you. Come on, Doc. Introduce us.
Your mouth's big enough. Introduce yourself.
I'm Jim Kenyon. Does that name sound familiar to you, Bonner? This is my brother Bob.
Kenyon. I remember a Kenyon about 20 years ago. Up in Indian country.
That was my pa. I don't believe you give him a good chance for a fair fight, Bonner.
Well, whether you believe it or not, son, isn't too important. When a man's 20 years dead, it's high time people forgot about him and went on living.
Don't you get preachy with me.
What does you want, son? A fight? I'm past that.
But you go mind your business, Jim. You should teach him to mind his mouth.
I've tried to, Doc. He's voting age.
You planning on staying in Canyon City?
I thought I would. Now, you ain't gonna tell me the town isn't big enough for the both of us, are you?
Well, you ain't gonna like it here. And I just know you ain't gonna like it here.
I'm sorry, Jeb. I didn't think he'd shoot his mouth off like that.
Every man shoots his mouth off one time or another. Let's get on home. I want to see that boy of mine.
Jim Kenyon didn't leave it there. Guess he wanted the town to know how he felt because he horsed Grandpa and Doc off the sidewalk on the way home.
Grandpa, could you really outdraw John Wesley?
Well, there was a time. There was a time.
Then why didn't you hit that Jim Kenyon?
How did you hear about that boy? Only happened half hour ago.
Billy Haskell told me. His pa seen it. You just stood there and let them walk all over you.
What would you have done, Vint?
Gee, I don't know. Something.
Yes, I suppose I should have done something.
Then why didn't you?
Vint, if you were a real fast runner and been running real hard for 20 years, how do you suppose you'd feel?
Tired, I guess.
Well, that's me. I'm tired. See that hand? It's got a line in it for every year I've lived. And the fingers that used to be quick and limber, well, they're stiff. And the joints ache when the weather's fixing to change. I've learned a lot of things, but what good's all a man's learning if his body won't do what his head tells it to? Now, do you think I could outdraw that Jim Kenyon?
No, sir. I guess you couldn't do anything else but take it.
Let the boy alone. He has to be alone now.
Yes, I suppose so. But it's always so hard to lose a dream.
Excuse me, Mom. I think I'll take a little walk. understand what I was talking about in there, son?
I guess so. You're not young anymore.
No, son, I'm not young anymore.
But, Grandpa, isn't there something anyone can do, even if you're not young?
Well, now, Vince, you just might have a point there. Just might. You stay right here. I'll be back.
You'd be Marshal Bonner, right?
Just plain Mr. Bonner now.
Well, Mr. Marshal, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Sit down.
Thank you.
I'm sure I know why you're here, right? It's the Kenyons. Oh, I know them well. I've had Jim in jail more times than one for stirring up trouble. Jim thinks he's pretty good with a handgun.
Well, how about his brother Bob?
Bob? Oh, I'd say there's still some hope for him, if Jim would stop pushing him. Mr. Bonner, I don't like to say this, but you made a pretty poor showing out there today. Now, as a famous lawman, you know that if you give a man an inch, he's going to take a mile, and he's going to walk on you every foot of the way, right?
Poor showing, I see.
Yes, but what are you going to do about it?
Well, what do you expect me to do about it? Put on a gun and brace the Kenyons in front of the whole town?
Oh, no, Mr. Bonner, that isn't what I had in mind.
Well, maybe I better do something to protect my reputation.
Well,
right? Right.
Yes, sir.
Grandpa told me later it wasn't too much for a feller who'd spent half his life rousting drunks out of bars. Just a trick he used on the youngster when he wasn't expecting it.
Morning, Sheriff.
Mr. Bonner, I heard about what happened last night. I can't say that I exactly approve.
When I was by your office last night, you said something about my making a poor showing. Now you don't seem to approve of my making any showing at all.
I'm the sheriff of this town, and I intend to keep the peace.
That's a fine idea.
Even if some old has-been of a just let me say, I don't want anything to stop me.
Well, I always did approve of law and order.
Let you and I go out to the Kenyons and see if we can settle this matter amicably before it develops into something far more serious. Right?
All right.
Come on. I'll get my hat.
We've gone further than we should with this, Jim. Now, you take it easy.
Gentlemen, I think we'd better have a little talk.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Sheriff, I can speak for myself.
Mr. Bonner, I'll handle this. I'm also an able lawman. I'm not going to mince words with anyone. Neither am I going to take sides.
Oh, look, Sheriff. Why don't you stick to rousting drunks? You're going to get into something that won't rub off.
I should lock you up.
And why don't you step off that horse and try it?
I've had about enough of this, Jim. Now you pull in your horns while there's still time.
And you shut up, Bob. Come on, Sheriff. Come on, lock me up. And you're man enough to do it without that gun, ain't you?
Yes. I think so.
Oh, my back!
Oh, my back! My back! My back!
Now, quit crying. Come on, you windbag. Get up! Get up!
He could be hurt bad.
Haven't you had enough trouble? It's always you. You with your gun-toting and your brawling and your hate.
Oh, shut up.
Don't just stand there. Help me.
Look, Bob, she might be your girl, but don't let her talk to me like that.
Look, somebody's got to set you straight. You're no good, Jim.
Look, I told you to shut up.
Now, you just stop right there, Jim.
Now, you just move back there and stay like you are.
Sheriff, appears to me like you're going to be laid up for a while. You're going to need yourself a deputy. I'd be right honored if you'd make it me. Much obliged. Bob, I'll send a buckboard back for him from town.
You're just as big a fool as your daddy was.
I'm gonna kill you, old man. I'm gonna kill you.
You so mixed up, you gotta kill me to straighten yourself out.
Anytime, anywhere. Now, you let me get my gun, I'll settle it right now. I don't care how fast you were, or are.
I like witnesses when I gun a man down. Now, if you got the guts, I'll meet you in town this afternoon at 4 o'clock, where everybody can see.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bonner.
Sit down, Bess. You love Bob, don't you?
Yes.
Then you were right in doing what you did. People do a lot of things wrong, but the love in them makes it come out all right.
Oh, but Jim will kill you, Mr. Bonner. You're...
Old. Yep, I'm old. Well, Bess, there's some things you can do, even if you are old. Let's just wait and see.
How did you know that about love?
Well, girl, you have to be young before you're old.
Did you have a girl then?
Had me a wife named Elizabeth. She had eyes the color of a pond right after a quick freeze. She died a year after we were married. Gave me a boy named John. He and his wife were killed at the massacre of Little Creek 5 years ago come next June. And they left me bent.
You must have really loved her to remember her like that.
Loved her. That's a pretty feeble word to express an emotion as big as the sky.
Grandpa said that even good friends sometimes don't agree on things that are important. Doc Ludlow made his feelings pretty clear.
If you face Jim Kenyon, you'll be dead. He's fast. I've seen him.
I'm sorry, Ken, but it's 25 minutes to 4.
I'm sorry, too, Jed. Sorry you ever came back to Canyon City.
Did you hear all that, boy?
Yes, Grandpa. I don't want you to get killed, Grandpa.
Now you listen to me, son, and you listen carefully. Things don't always turn out the way you plan them, and hardly ever the way you'd like them to be. But however they turn out, you've got to take them coming on. Now, you understand that?
I think so. I love you, Grandpa.
Well, I feel the same about you, boy. I surely do. Now, you stay right here. Understand, and I'll be back directly.
But, Grandpa, isn't there something anyone can do, even if you're not young? I don't want you to get killed, Grandpa. No, sir. I guess you couldn't do anything else but take it. I love you, Grandpa.
You didn't let me get close. I could have beat you. I could have beat you.
Take care of him, Ken.
That was no lucky shot, Bonner. You could have put that bullet right between his eyes and no one would have blamed you.
I'd have blamed myself. Vint, today you saw your first gunfight.
Yes, sir.
Did you like it?
No, sir. I was scared. But you weren't scared, were you, Grandpa? You just stood there and let him shoot at you.
You know why I'm sitting down right now, son? 'Cause my legs don't want to hold me up. Someday you're gonna grow up. And when you do, I want you to remember what you saw today. I want you to remember something else, too. Growing old ain't so bad. It's just well, it takes a mite of getting used to. That's what it does. Austin, out on the Circle 8. We had a plow due in on the stage, so I was on my way to town.
Now, don't you keep Vin waiting around while you decide between Dimity and Calico.
I won't, Daddy.
Here's a little extra so you can buy both of them.
Thank you.
Now, you take good care of her, Vin.
I'll do that, sir. Your head? How come the free beer?
Election bet!
Look, when you got your things ready, I'll carry them for you. I'll be over there.
Drinking Gallagher's free beer?
No. Waiting for the new plow.
Howdy, Vin. How do, Miss Celia?
Hello, Sheriff.
You sure picked the right day to come into town.
You managed to keep the peace?
Yep.
It's the hotel? Yeah. 4 bits a day in advance.
Josie Collins live here?
Who'd you say?
Josie Collins. This where she lives?
Yeah. This is where she lives, all right.
She in?
Well, judging from the time she was having last night, I'd say she was all in.
Free beer. The boys are having a little fun.
Well, there can't be too many rooms in this place. I'll find her myself.
First room at the top of the stairs.
Josie, don't send that fresh kid packing. I'll run her out of town. And if you let him buy booze for that gin-soaked old harridan, I'll run you out of town.
Josie, she'll pat him on the head and send him on his way. All right, Vint, how about that beer?
Later. I gotta pick up my plow.
All right, boys, you want any more?
It was lunchtime and past before Celia was through shopping, so I bought her a steak at the Cattleman's Rest next door.
That was a good lunch. Thanks.
I'll bet you they don't feed you that way back east.
I like it better here. This is where I belong.
Hadn't had a robbery in a long time. So the young stranger, the one who had asked for Josie Collins, was naturally suspect. Celia and I, being witnesses, were asked to identify him.
Zach, I don't know why Celia has to be dragged into this.
Well, I'm sorry, Josiah, but we need every witness we can get. McCann says that Smith is the same height and build, all right, but that's as far as he'll go. Clint, I was counting a lot on you. You seen this kid close, too, when he got off the stage yesterday.
Yes, I did. But I wasn't close to when the robbery happened. I couldn't say it was Smith, not in good conscience.
Well, you saw how seedy he was dressed when he pulled into town yesterday. Well, last night when he showed up at Gallagher's, he had $1,000 on him.
Sheriff, this Smith, where does he say he was at the time of the holdup?
Claims he talked to Josie Collins for a while. And he went down the outside stairs and spent a couple hours walking.
Did Josie back him up in this?
Josie left town late yesterday. Went out on the return trip of the stage while we were out looking for Smith.
But, Zach, the kid didn't have a horse, remember? He came in on the stage. The holdup man ran down the alley and jumped on his horse.
Yes. And who gave him a horse, Sheriff, and $700 more than the bandit got in the holdup?
And another thing. Would he pull a holdup and then run right into your arms?
This kid might. He's got more gall than a timber wolf. You think I held up the express office, he says. All right, prove it.
Well, he's right. I thought everyone was innocent until proven guilty.
Celia, you're here to identify this man, if you can, not to argue with the sheriff. All right, Zach.
Come on.
Well, I'll say this for you, lawman. You sure try hard.
Miss Austin, I'd like to have you take a look at this prisoner. Tell me if he's the man you saw run out of the express office yesterday.
I can't say. Everything happened too fast.
You mean you won't say this is the man?
It isn't fair. If the answer has to be yes or no. No.
Well, looks like I'll have to turn him loose. Thanks anyway.
Zach will see to it he's out of town by sundown.
Why?
Why? Well, he's certainly not the type fellow we want around here.
Dad, what are you saying? You know nothing about him.
You heard him. Refused to tell where he got the money. Refused to state his reasons for coming here. The sooner he's out of town, the better. No room here for his kind.
If I was you, I'd be out of town before dark.
Sorry, Sheriff. I ain't hardly seen your town yet. Except Gallagher's saloon and your crummy jail. I think I'm gonna like it here. Saw one piece of scenery I thought was real pretty.
Now, you look at here, Smith.
Never did care for that name, Sheriff. Back home, they used to call me the Concho Kid. And that name I like. Now, you take care now.
Get off my land.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Austin.
Get out!
Johnny, wait!
Celia, go to your room. How did he get out here?
He rode out here. He invited me to take a ride with him, and I did. We had a fine time.
Celia, this isn't the kind of
You
fellow...
ordered me to my room. I'm going. Bint, will you see that my horse is taken care of, please?
The gall of him. A nowhere kid like that in my Celia. Well, the first question he asked when he got here was, where could he find Josie Collins?
Look, I don't hold any brief for any of this, but all I say is no one really knows anything about the boy.
I know all I need to know about him.
Yes, sir. Well, I guess you got yourself a problem.
Hey, what's going on?
I just broke out of jail.
Oh, you've been out with Smith.
Look, I don't like to sneak out to see him, but Dad's left me no other choice.
Now, look, Celia, I can't help you disobey your father.
You gonna tell him?
Well, not this time, but I won't do this again.
You won't have to. Johnny's coming for me tomorrow night. He told me so. We're going to go someplace where nobody knows us, and we're going to get married. Then Dad can either accept my husband or throw us both off of his land.
Oh, I see. How old is the Concho kid?
19.
Has he got a job?
Well, who'd give him a job around here?
Well, maybe he's got some of that 1,000 left. And a flashy horse and a flashy outfit.
He came by that money honestly.
How do you know?
Because he told me so, and I believe him.
All right, Celia, you can sneak off and get married if you want to and break your father's heart. Maybe your own, too. Or you can make an honest effort to bring your father around.
It won't do any good.
Look, honey, from where you sit, your father may be all wrong. But whatever he's doing out of love for you. You say you believe in Johnny Smith. How about having some faith in your dad?
All right. I'll tell Johnny we have to wait. I do love you, but I love my father, too. What Vince says is true, Johnny. We're both young. We can afford to wait a little if it means marrying with Dad's blessing.
If you want to please your old man, why don't you marry Bonner?
I love you, Johnny.
They'll take you away from me. You'll see. Your father never changed. But you will.
No, I won't.
Yes, you will. You changed already. Bonner gives you a sermon and all the things you said to me last night. Gone.
Oh, it's not gone. It's you who haven't any faith. Just give me a little time. Let me try to convince Dad.
Celia, look, I've been kicking the teeth too often to believe that anything good comes my way. Oh, sure, I used to think that if I had a few bucks in my pocket, nifty outfit like this, fine horse, I'd be king. Have everything I'd ever want.
No, Johnny, that's not enough. Not for you.
Celia, if a girl like you was to believe in me, I mean, if being my wife was all in all to you, above Bonner, above your father even, well, don't you see, sweetheart? That'd be kind of a sign to me that, well, Celia, I'm asking an awful lot of you. But marry me, right now, like you promised last night.
I want to, Johnny, but I can't. It just wouldn't be right.
Okay. I'm through begging you.
The spring horse races were about the most important occasion in the whole valley.
There he is. You'll have to admit he's handsome.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll admit it, too.
Now there, that's what I mean. Everybody's dead set against him.
On your marks, get set.
so easy? My little sweetheart here was cheering for me.
Johnny, I want to talk to you.
Well, I think it can be arranged.
You know, if I was Josiah Austin, I'd spank that girl and horsewhip that loafer.
Well, I'm not much good at giving advice to Lovelorn either. If that's the way you feel, I'm glad you're not her father.
Think your nag can beat Flash?
He might.
How much you think so? Enough to bet on him?
Too much to bet on him. Come on, Celia.
Scared?
Johnny.
Stay out of this, Celia. I say you're Mr. Bonner scared.
I don't like to see a man with a horse he's proud of eat dust. But a loudmouth kid, that's another thing.
Get set!
That's a lot of horse. What do you want for him?
This car's not for sale.
500.
I said he's not for sale.
You wish you took that 500.
Put your hands up, boy, and don't move. Turn around, slow.
Your friend the sheriff staked out here too?
Just me.
Well, I was trying to steal your horse. At least to give this town something to talk about. Watching a hanging's more fun than most of these deadheads have had in quite a spell. Let's go.
Hanging's too easy. Besides, it's over too quick. I've got some other plans for you.
What?
I think I'll put you to work right here at the Circle A.
All the hands know that I'm a horse thief? See, they know it too.
Nobody's gonna know about it but you and me.
I'll bet.
That's right, it's a bet. I'm betting you're a loudmouth with no guts. And that once Celia finds it out, she wouldn't give you the time of day.
Bonner didn't say anything?
No, I never knew a thing about it until Daddy said he was giving you a job on Vince's recommendation.
Well, Bonner gave me this job for just one reason. He thinks I can't do it. And you watch. He'll make it so I can't do it.
Don't say that. Vince's the most fair-minded man in the world.
Well, I got a surprise for good old fair-minded Vince Bonner. Whatever he dishes out, I can take.
It'll be wonderful seeing you every day.
I know, honey. Boss's daughter don't mix with the hired hands. Now, you remember that.
After I'd tried him on everything else, I thought I'd give him a crack at our rock garden. Never knew a ranch yet that didn't have rocks to be cleared. I see you're keeping busy.
Thanks. There's more rock and shale over on the south slope. You want me to clear that next?
No, I got some chicken coops I want you to whitewash.
Yes, sir.
Let me see that hand.
I'll wash him, teacher.
After you finish here, go over to Jeb. Get him to put something on those blisters.
Thanks, nurse. Back in Kansas, we used to feed our livestock bean cake. Puts weight on them fast and it's cheap.
Missed out we could grow beans here.
Oh, you kidding? Austin's got plenty of water on the northeast quarter section. Gravity flow. Beans will practically jump out of the ground.
Tell it to vent.
You tell it to vent.
Don't be a fool, kid. Any hand comes up with a good ID, Vent sees you get a bonus.
I'll tell you what, Jeb, old boy. You can take the beans, the bonus, and Bonner. I give them to you free and clear.
Smith. Thanks for the tip about the beans.
Jeb's idea.
The last idea Jeb had was to raise on a busted flush. It's a good idea. Why disown it?
Well, I never did hold with bringing an apple to the teacher. Or beans either.
Come in. Sit down, Johnny. I expect you want to know why I sent for you. Well, they've found the thief that robbed the express office. Also, we had a bet, remember? I said something about...
all mouth, no guts.
Yeah. Well, I think I was wrong. Sid, you think so, too. You know, there's a lot to this woman's intuition celia's And Celia's quite a little woman.
Mr. Bonner, I'd like to tell you something.
Go ahead.
Well, first off, Josie Collins was my mother.
What?
Was. She's dead now. Over in Centerville, all alone, in a shack.
I'm sorry, Johnny.
Well, she gave me that $1,000. Sent it to me. That's how I knew I had a mother. Who she was. And where. I was raised in an orphanage back in Kansas, and I was bound out to a farmer. And always, I dreamed about finding my folks. Well, I found her.
See, do you know this?
No. I guess I better be moving on.
Why?
Well, I ain't got no right to see you. With my family tree, I can see that now.
Johnny, that's one good thing about this part of the world. It's what you are yourself that counts.
I'd have to tell her.
I think so.
And her father?
Her father, too.
He'd never in the world...
But not right now. Not for a while yet. You just go on doing like you have been doing. Finishing your job day by day. I imagine in a little while he'll come around.
Push a horse or a man just so far. I don't usually push Scar to the limit, but this time a man's life depended on my testimony. Sheriff Cullen?
Yeah?
My name's Bonner, Vint Bonner.
Mr. Bonner, what can I do for you?
Well, I've got the proof here that John Delaney didn't kill Miles Rowley.
What?
Affidavits from 3 different people. He was with me that night, over 50 miles away. John?
You're too late, Bonner. Delaney was tried and found guilty. He was hung yesterday morning.
He was what?
The evidence was all against him. There was nothing on his side. The jury found him guilty.
But you hung an innocent man.
Innocent?
Read the affidavits. I had to look up the people that were with us that night. I've written day and night. Where'll I find his wife?
A mile out of town. South.
My name's Bonner, son.
So you're Vint Bonner, John's old friend.
I came as quickly as I could.
Did you stop at the cemetery and explain it to John?
The letter must have arrived late.
John wrote over a month ago. What's the matter, Mr. Bonner? Didn't you think it was important?
A month?
John counted on you. He knew every bit of evidence was against him. But he was sure his friend Vint would come through.
Mrs. Delaney.
You keep your hands off my mother.
You're making a mistake, Mrs. Delaney. You're blaming me for something I had no control over.
All I can see is a man who might have saved John's life. And didn't get here.
My mom wants you to leave, Mr. Bonner.
I can't say as I blame you. Well, Mr. Bonner, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Mason, George Mason. I defended John. Well, Mr. Mason, I'm a tired man. I'm going to get some sleep. I heard about you from Sheriff Cullen. And you probably know the rest of the story. By now, most of the town has heard. Couldn't you have gotten a delay? I did, twice. But the town was kind of upset. Yeah. Well, the town hung an innocent man because it was kind of upset. May I give you a little advice? Mrs. Delaney just gave me some advice. She advised me to leave town. Mrs. Delaney was right. Well, I'm going to get some sleep, and I want to go over the whole case with you. For what reason? Because I'm going to find out who killed Miles Rowley.
Mr. Bonner?
That's right.
I'm Judge Wayne. May I come in?
I understand you were a friend of John Delaney's.
I was.
I've been a judge for almost 30 years, but I never thought I'd live to see such a day as this. A day I'd find out that I had condemned an innocent man.
The jury found him guilty.
But I was the one who sentenced him to be hanged. You may not be able to understand this, but I was a good judge.
Look, Judge, I don't know who's to blame. Maybe you are. Maybe the jury. Maybe the sheriff. Maybe the whole town of Dobie. But I'm tired. I'd like to get some rest.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bonner. But since you were a friend of John's, I wanted you to know how I felt. It wasn't easy coming here. Good night.
You see him, Judge?
Yes, I saw Mr. Bonner.
That's what I hear, right?
We hung an innocent man.
And this is Bonner. He's here maybe to make us pay for our mistake?
No, Jed. We'll do that ourselves, each one of us, from now on.
Yeah, well, some of us been talking. We figure this Bonner has said his little piece in order to get out of Dobie. We figure we won't be needing him around here anymore.
There's no doubt he'll be a conscience for all of us while he's here.
Jed, you're quick-tempered. Take it a little easy.
I got a right to think.
I'm not denying you that right. Just don't act. Bonner's reputation isn't founded on thin air.
Well, now, if I haven't found a gun yet I mind drawing against, Sheriff, I reckon I'll be doing what I think needs to be done.
Bonner, my name is Rossett. Bert Rossett. I was the prosecuting attorney. I asked for Delaney's hanging, and I got it. We did the only thing we could do on the evidence.
Well, now you've got another job. I want to go over all that evidence with you.
Bonner, wherever you belong, go there.
Mr. Rossett, there's a killer to be found. It's part of your job to help find him.
Maybe, but it sure isn't your job.
I brought the evidence to town that would save John Delaney's life, and I'm not leaving till the man that should have been hung is behind those bars.
People won't like it, Bonner. I'm warning you.
Bert's right. We'll find the man that killed Miles Rowley. It's our job.
I'm staying for a while. I want every fact you've got. I'll consider any man who stands against me as suspect. Now do you want me to leave?
No. I've got a conscience, too. But there are those in town who might just want you out of the way. Not the real killer, just people who are ashamed, who won't want you reminding them of it.
That's a chance I'll take.
You said you wanted to go over the testimony. Bert and I are ready, if you are. First off, Rowley always kept a lot of cash on hand. He didn't have much faith in banks.
John was way behind on the payments on his ranch. He was broke. George didn't get a nickel for defending him.
George? That would be George Mason?
Yes. You see, George was in kind of a funny position. What with being Rowley's attorney, he had to testify that there was $500 or $1,000 in the house.
I'll go on.
Rowley was shot twice with a rifle .45. When we picked up John, his gun had been fired recent and reloaded.
And it was proven that John was out of town.
Mrs. Delaney couldn't say where he was.
He was with me.
Well, we know that now.
I loaned him $500, the amount of the mortgage. Here's the note.
500 was found on him when he was arrested.
How about the people at the ranch, the foreman?
Well, they were away on roundup. The place was deserted except for Rowley. I've got testimony here that says no man left the camp all night.
Well, you had a good case.
Good enough.
Something to think about, though. John was set up and trapped and legally killed. Whoever caused it felt pretty safe till I got to town. It may take a little while, but someone's going to start getting nervous soon.
Anything I can do, Bonner?
Keep your eye out for a nervous man. Mr. Mason, I'd like to talk to you.
Oh, sure, Bonner. Sit down.
Since you were Riley's attorney, I'd like you to take me out to his place.
I think that'll help.
Couldn't hurt anything.
When do you want to go?
If you're finished right now.
Let's get started.
Bonner!
He's a troublemaker, Bonner.
I've decided you're leaving town, Bonner. Now.
I'm ready to leave. I'll let you know.
I heard with a gun you're quite a man.
I don't want any trouble. All I want is the man who killed Miles Rowley.
Where you hung him? I'm not too sure about you, Bonner. Or the evidence you brought.
Why don't you just give me a chance to work this out?
We're going to work this out right now.
Get him to the doctor's office.
Baldwin drew first, Sheriff.
It's the beginning, Bonner. Find anything?
How's Baldwin?
He'll live.
Look, Sheriff, when you questioned John, did he say why he used his gun?
He killed a snake.
Well, they had a Groot 45 in his cabinet, too. Did you check it?
It was clean and loaded.
That could have been the gun the killer used.
Possible.
I've covered everything. I'm about at the end of my rope.
Then you're leaving?
Not yet.
Well, until you do, I'm hiring an extra deputy. As long as you're here, I expect trouble. There's no use saying I don't.
I'm sorry, Sheriff. I didn't intend it this way.
When people see you, they see just one thing, Bonner. Their own mistake.
Good afternoon, Judge Wayne.
Mr. Wayne, I've resigned.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think you made a mistake.
Did you sleep well last night, Mr. Bonner?
Yes, sir, pretty well.
Well, until you know what it means not to sleep, don't tell me I made a mistake.
I hope you'll feel differently about this when it's all over.
It'll never be over for me. The years that are left will be haunted years. She'll be haunted in the same way.
It's the wrong way to the Delaney Ranch.
The cemetery is that way, Mr. Bonner.
Mrs. Delaney, I've got to talk to you.
Haven't you left town yet?
No, ma'am. And it's not easy to stay.
What did you expect?
I've got to have your help.
And why should I help you?
Because John's dead for a crime he didn't commit. I want to find the man who did.
All right, Mr. Boner. I expect John would want me to talk to you.
Thank you.
What do you want?
I've been over and over the evidence. I can't find a thing to point to anyone else. Not a soul.
Seems to me George Mason said some money was stolen.
There was not any proof there was any money in the house. How about relatives? Who stands a chance to inherit Rowley's ranch?
There aren't any. Leastwise, nobody knows of anyone.
Thank you. You may have helped me.
I heard about the shooting this morning.
There'll be others who'll try.
I wanted to when you rode up to our house.
And now?
I hope you find Rowley's killer. That's all I want now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Either of you seen Cullen? He just took Judge Wayne to the doctor. What's wrong with the judge?
He shot himself. Is that what you want, Bonner? Are you going to keep walking the streets of Dobie until we're all punished? Because if you are, somebody's going to finish the job that Jed Baldwin started.
Judge is pretty bad. Doc doesn't think he can do much for him. How did it happen? The judge hasn't had much to live for since you hit town. Anything I can do? Money? No, don't reckon he'll need much. How about his doctor? They were old friends. Look, Sheriff, I think I've got a way to smoke out our man. What is it? It has to do with motive. Who stood a chance to inherit the ranch? Seems to me Mason's been trying to locate the next of kin. Yeah, but nothing about motive. Only talk of a large sum of money that was kept around the house. What do you think the motive was? I can't tell. But something might happen if you let it be known I was riding out to bring back an heir. Have you found one? No, but I'm leaving in the morning. And you want me to spread the word? That's it. Someone must have stood a chance to gain something by Riley's death. They wouldn't like a relative turning up. Now, wait a minute here. How'll I say you found out about this heir? Mason let me go through the house, through the papers. But the killer, how does he expect to get the ranch? I don't know, but it's something to do and a way to move. And you think somebody might be waiting for you when you ride out of town? That's it. Just say I'm riding north toward Hayworth. I didn't say anything about the name of the person or the address. I kept it to myself. All right. I'm with you. Like you say, it's something to do. Thanks. I'm leaving at 8 in the morning.
It sure beats me how he found anything. I thought we went over Miles's papers real good.
No, Bonner's a stubborn man. He don't give up easy.
Well, he's leaving Dobie, and that's good enough for me.
That's for the best.
One of these days you'll think different about him. You're so concerned with your own feelings, you forgot about his.
I didn't forget. You're the only one who had nothing
to be ashamed of? Is that what you want to say?
I guess so.
Well, there's no reason to believe Bonner, and papers can be forged.
Well, let's get back to the card game. He's leaving town, that's that.
little warning you get in the back of your head and neck. The warning that makes the difference between staying alive and dying.
Put up your hands. Don't move and don't turn around.
What's the trouble, Mr. Mason?
I didn't make trouble. You came to Dobie. I'm going to kill you.
Just like you killed Miles Rowley.
Not quite. You're going after your gun before I shoot.
How long do you think you can keep it a secret about the air?
Just so long as nobody ever hears from anybody in Dobie.
You didn't kill Rowley for the few dollars he had at the ranch.
Hardly. I managed his business for him. I've been taking money out for years. Miles finally caught on. When he told me what he knew, I did the only thing I could do. I killed him. With his own gun.
Then why defend Delaney?
Oh, I'm an attorney. Besides, I happen to know that my client was innocent. You should have listened to me and the people of Dobie. You might have lived if you'd left town.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Everybody but me.
You made one mistake. That letter I found out at the house.
I want that letter.
Take it.
All right, I can take it later. Let's get on with it. Drop your hands. Whenever you're ready, Bonner, make your move.
I may just let you shoot.
All right, have it your way. But if you draw, you might have a slight chance. I heard you were fast.
I could be fast enough. Why don't you worry a little?
Good thing I was close enough.
You heard
the whole story.
I'm glad you did. I'm afraid the town of Dobie wouldn't have believed my story about Mason.
I fired just in time.
You fired?
Why, sure.
I knew I could count on you, Sheriff.
Who is it?
Step on it, Jackie.
Better get back on your horse.
I came to talk to you. Would you put the gun aside? I know how you feel. I don't blame you. But I'm leaving town tomorrow, and I've got something I want you and your mother to have.
It's money.
That's right. You're the man of the house now, and I know your father would approve.
No, he wouldn't. Not from you.
How long did you know your father?
All my life. I'm 10.
Well, I knew him nearly 20 years, and I'm sure you'd take it.
I don't know what to say, Mr. Bonner.
Don't say anything. Just take good care of your mother. I'll be checking in with you.
I figured I'd handle about every job there was until Tom Higgins asked me to bring his 12-year-old nephew, Dudley Higgins, to his ranch. The boy's father, a Confederate officer, had been killed in the war, and his mother was dead.
Sure have missed
Miss Jew. Oh, it's nice to see you. I tell you, I want to find out all about your trip. I want to tell you some things that have happened.
Well, how was the trip?
Dry and hot. Well, son, this is your Uncle Tom and your cousin Michael.
Thank you for inviting me, sir.
You look just like your father.
Please don't talk about my father.
Take it easy, boy.
I knew I had a cousin in Virginia, but I never expected to see him. We're gonna have fun.
Thank you.
Well, who we got here? Tom don't mean to break into this family reunion.
It's all right, Arthur. I want you to meet my nephew, Dudley Higgins.
I know all about your nephew, Tom. My wife's been telling me all about him. They come up in the stage from Virginia together. My name's Stewart. Arthur Stewart.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
My wife's been telling me how kind you were to her on the trip. I own the general store. And if at any time I can do anything for you, you just come a-running.
Thank you. Arthur Stewart. Are you any kin of Jeb Stewart, the Confederate hero?
Could be, boy. Could be, but I'm not sure.
Where'd you hurt your leg?
Oh, Chickamauga?
How can you live here in the North?
Well, I like it here. Did I say something wrong?
No, you didn't.
It was a long trip. New faces and places.
I understand.
Help your cousin put his things in the buckboard and be pleasant. Think I did wrong sending for him?
No. It'll take a little patience.
I aim to have it.
You're Dudley. You know, I'd recognize you any place. There's no mistaking that family resemblance. You must be tired and hungry after that long trip.
Michael, let you and I take Dudley to his room. Come on, Dudley.
Michael bought this for Dudley, and he threw it away.
What's that? My father carried this flag at the Battle of Chattanooga. Found him at General Bragg at Lookout Mountain. My father was killed at Lookout Mountain. And maybe the bullet that killed him was fired by your father.
That's not so. My father was never at Lookout Mountain.
He was in the Union Army, wasn't he? He killed him.
Hold it, you two. Now, let's not fight the war all over again. You go on downstairs until we come.
He started it.
Get. Well, where are we hanging?
I think I'd like it over the bed.
Pour over a little. How do you like that?
That'll look fine. Real fine.
Well, after we have some lunch, we'll get a hammer and nails and put them up.
I'm not hungry.
Well, maybe you're not hungry, but I am. Your aunt's a real good cook. You're going to like her.
I didn't want to come here.
Well, you can make it any way you want to.
How?
Your aunt and your uncle are real nice people. Of course, they won't replace a mother and father, but if I were you, I'd figure I had it real good. Now get your feet off the bed.
Come on, Joe, run out. Everybody off. Come on.
All right, now, who started all this?
He was asking for it. He said the Union Army didn't fight fair. That's why we won the war.
You think you're fighting fair now? 5 of you against 1?
I'm sorry. We should let the 2 of you fight it out alone.
I don't want to hear any more about fighting. I think you owe Dudley an apology. Now, shake hands.
Sorry.
Go on, Dudley. You too. Mike. Go on, Dudley.
Tom, I'm worried.
Dudley?
4 days now, and that boy still hasn't come around. He's fighting and grouching and never a pleasant word.
Yes, I know.
You know, our house has been turned into a battleground.
One small boy against the world.
You have no right to say that, Ben. We've done everything we could to make that boy feel welcome.
Sometimes when he doesn't know I'm watching, you see, he looks at us as if he could shoot us right on the spot. There's a lot of hate in that little boy.
Yeah. Maybe if he had something of his own. Something to love, to take care of. Maybe the hate would go away.
Why can't you tell me?
Have a little patience, boy.
You're sending me away?
Nope, not like that. How do you like him?
I've seen better.
Oh? Think you could ride him?
Easy.
Let's give it a try.
Like I said, it was easy.
What are you going to name him?
Doesn't he have a name?
Yeah, Sunshine, but I figured if you're going to have your own horse, you'd like to name him yourself.
My horse?
That's right. Your uncle says every boy should have a horse of his own.
My uncle said that?
That's right, that's what he said. Ask him yourself.
I like the name Sunshine just fine. I can tell this has never been a battlefield. How can you tell? Have you ever seen one? Lots of them. I coming up from Virginia, we saw overturned cannons and grave markers. I seen my daddy's marker. I'm sorry your father got killed in the war. He died a hero. I'm sure he did. But do you know how it happened? Sure. I'll show you. But we're gonna need guns. Why guns? Well, what good's a battle without guns? Doesn't your dad have them? Sure, but if I so much as touch him, I'll get hided. I can't tell you about it without guns. Okay, I'll get them. These are real fine. Here, you use this one. Let's see. Okay, this goes off the Lookout Mountain. And down here is the Union Army and all your men. Okay, there's 3 generals in the Union Army. Hooker, Thomas, and Sherman. And up here all we got is General Bragg. Now we're just south of Chattanooga. I dug in to keep you from moving into the city. Get it? Got it. Okay, you be General Sherman, and I'll be my daddy. Now he's in an advanced position defending the mountaintop. Get into position now. All right, the sentry had given warning the Union Army was preparing to attack. So my daddy raised that standard and moved forward. Thousands of men were behind this banner, ready to give their lives to fight off those men down there. Shooting started. Bang! 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 Okay, charge me. Michael!
Get the doctor, quick.
Oh, no, not Michael.
Open the door.
You can't let him die. You've got to do something, Dr. Harris. Michael? Michael, can you hear me?
Take her downstairs, Tom.
Oh, he's still unconscious. He looks so pale.
Take her downstairs, Tom.
No, I'm not going. He needs me.
The doctor knows what he's doing. He'll be all right.
Come on, Gloria. The best thing you can do is let the doctor do his job.
What happened?
That's a long story. I'll tell you about it later. How is it?
Well, it looks a lot worse than it is. He'll be all right.
Good.
And if you hadn't brought Dudley here, this never would have happened.
Now, Gloria, calm down. You're getting yourself too excited.
How can you stand there and be so calm? Michael might die.
He's not going to die, Mrs. Higgins.
You're just as much to blame as Tom is. If you hadn't given him those guns, you mean he's going to be all right?
Yes, ma'am. He's going to be all right. And I didn't give him the guns.
Well, then where did they get them?
I don't know. I wouldn't go up there if I were you, Mrs. Higgins.
Well, then I'm going looking for that Dudley. And when I get my hands on him... Dudley! Dudley, where are you? Dudley! Don't try to hide. I know you're here. Dudley! You better come out here if you know what's good for you.
Please calm yourself, Gloria.
I was afraid of that.
What do you mean?
His horse is gone.
He's run away?
Run away? Tom, you go get the sheriff. You tell him what's happened. That boy's got to be punished.
Now, Gloria.
Do you want me to get the sheriff?
What good will that do? You've got to let me find him. Let him tell us what happened.
But he shot Michael. Isn't that enough for you? Do you want him to kill Michael next time?
I'm sure it was an accident.
Accident? Oh, I wish we'd left him in Virginia. That's where he belongs.
Mrs. Higgins, he's part of your family now. You asked him to be. You let him run now and you'll destroy him. You've got to let me find him. Let me bring him back. You brought him here to give him a new life, a new home. You're responsible. Take one bitter, mixed-up little boy like Dudley and multiply him by 1,000,000. Well, who's going to build this big new country of ours? Please, Mrs. Higgins. Well, Tom, it's up to you. Find the boy.
Bring him home.
What's on your mind, boy?
Mr. Stewart, when I came into town and I met you, you said you like it here.
That's right.
But you're from Virginia. Didn't you like it down there?
Sure I did, boy, but that's all in the past. Now I come here to make a new life for myself and my family.
Do they like it here?
They got to, boy.
I don't like it here.
Well, you have to give it time.
My aunt and uncle, they don't like me.
Well, you got to give people time to get used to you, boy.
I don't have to wait around to make my mind, Mr. Stewart. When no one likes you, and no one wants you.
Now, what makes you say that, Dudley?
I know when I'm not wanted. That's why I came to see you. You're the only one I know from home. I know you'd understand.
Understand what?
Why I'm running away.
Running away?
This is no place for me. I just wanted to say goodbye.
Now, Dudley, if something's happened, if anything's wrong, you can tell me all about it.
Nothing's wrong. I'm just gonna run away.
Run away. I did that once, but I made a mistake. You know what I did?
What?
Well, I didn't get prepared properly. It's a long way back to Virginia. First thing you have to do is eat a good meal and take along plenty of provisions and get a good night's rest. I'll tell you what. Why don't I just fix you something to eat, and then you can spend the night right here in the store, and then tomorrow I'll help you to get ready for your runaway. What about that, boy?
Please, don't tell anyone I'm in here.
You better hide. Go over there. Come in. Hello, Vin.
Hello. Dudley been here?
Dudley?
Yeah. I thought he might have come by here. Has he been here?
Why, what's wrong, Vin?
Well, I got a hunch he's running away. I thought he might stop to say goodbye.
Well, why would he be running away?
Oh, one of those foolish things that kids do. He and Michael were playing with guns, and one of them went off, and Michael got wounded.
Oh. I think I'm beginning to understand.
Of course, they shouldn't have been playing with the guns in the first place.
Now, Bonner, you get out of here. You get on your horse, right off. You leave me be.
There's no need for you to run away, son. Your uncle wants you to come home.
What about Aunt Gloria?
They both want you to come home.
I don't believe you. You're trying to trick me. Michael's dead. They know I shot him.
No, he's not. He's only wounded, like I said.
Stop! Don't take another step. Don't make me shoot you.
You're going about it the wrong way. If you really want to learn how to handle a gun, I'll be glad to teach you. But that's not the way, not with both hands. I know how it is, coming to a strange country, new places, new people. Takes a lot of getting used to. Believe me, son, we've all got a lot to learn about each other. Now give me the gun.
go in.
You afraid?
No, I'm not afraid.
You didn't do anything on purpose?
You're just saying that. They made you bring me back.
Gonna get on by yourself, or do you need some help?
I don't need any help from anybody.
Come on, then.
Where have you been? Answer me.
I don't belong here.
You and Michael, you had guns. Where did you get them?
We took them.
Michael should have known better. Didn't he say anything to you?
He said he'd get whipped, but we decided to do it anyway.
Well, I guess he was right. You ought to get whipped.
Tom, you didn't ask the boy what happened.
We know what happened.
Dudley, I want them to hear it from you. You tell them the truth. Did you do anything wrong? On purpose, I mean?
We took the guns. I guess that was wrong.
Yeah, but I mean about the shooting.
I don't know what happened. We were playing. I heard the gun go off in my hand. I didn't mean to shoot him.
I believe him, Tom.
I didn't want to come back.
Ma!
Oh, Mike.
Ma!
Michael, you shouldn't have come down.
It's okay, Ma. It's only a scratch.
You might have been killed.
We were just playing, Ma. It was an accident.
It was an accident. It was an accident. I know now, son. It was an accident.
It says somewhere that a word fitly spoken is better than apples of gold in a basket of silver. You know, that makes a lot of sense.